gimmicks. You're vulnerable. And that's why so many people get tricked into buying unproven treatments. At Rejuvenex, we understand how you suffer, how you wait to get out of bed because you know the pain is coming. Chronic pain from osteoarthritis is a terrible thing. And that's why we use our proprietary, powerful, FDA-approved treatments to precisely target your affected areas, to provide cushion and lubrication that helps deliver long-lasting pain relief in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. We're in-network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9:02, it's 68 degrees. Showers and rumbles of thunder moving through southeast Wisconsin this morning. It'll be partly cloudy and humid today with a high of 72. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. The big wigs are arriving at the Milwaukee Mile this morning, where an announcement could be coming related to IndyCar. Some of those big names at the track this morning, including Governor Tony Evers, as well as members of Penske Entertainment, which owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rumors have been circulating about the potential return of the IndyCar series to the track, where it hasn't been since 2015. Back in August, the Milwaukee Mile hosted its first NASCAR race in 14 years, which brought in 17,000 people. Investigations continue after around a dozen shots were fired at the Milwaukee Lutheran Pius High School football game Friday night. Student Dwan Hill tells TMJ4 News about the moment shots rang out.
Something is telling me to slow down for a second, so I stop. And then you hear all these shots. I gotta get to safety fast. So, yeah, that's all I could really think of was getting to safety. It didn't kick in at first that it was shots. I didn't think that's what was going on until I was seeing everybody running and screaming.
The incident caused Lutheran to cancel its weekend homecoming events. The school is virtual today, though that was already built into the schedule. Passenger numbers at Milwaukee's Mitchell International Airport are continuing to grow post-2020, but still lag behind pre-pandemic numbers. Data from the airport through July shows every month this year except March has exceeded that same month in 2022. Overall, Mitchell has had over 214,000 more flyers than the same period last year. However, this year's total passenger traffic through July is still behind 2019's numbers through that same period by about 700,000 flyers. And negotiators with the Writers Guild of America say a tentative deal has been reached. The announcement comes after 5 months on the picket line. Picketing has been suspended, but we're still weeks away from when writers could be going back to work while the tentative contract is finalized and ratified. Late-night talk shows could return by early next month. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed so far, though trending in the red for the major indices. The Dow Jones down 77 points this morning to 35,889. The S&P 500, rough month for the 500, and it's down 2 points this morning to 4,318. And the NASDAQ up slightly to 13,213. Navigating the Markets is back and scheduled for Mequon, Madison, Brookfield, and Appleton. Get set for what's next. Details at annexwealth.com/events. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:05.
We will only sell products we believe in, and we believe in Armstrong Air Furnaces. With variable speed blower and multi-stage performance, Armstrong Air's most advanced furnaces deliver the highest number of features, the most comfort, and the greatest efficiency. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. To me, Armstrong Air is the professional's choice. So see the man in the red van, and we'll get you a furnace you can rely on for the long haul.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
When you need emergency service 24/7, any time of the day, any day of the year, call Quality Heating. With one of Wisconsin's largest HVAC fleets, you can count on us being there in a hurry. So don't worry. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you're in a heating or air conditioning jam, just see the man in the red van. And he's going to have a master plan to make sure you stay comfortable.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. I've had chiropractic care on and off my entire adult life. I can tell you Dr. Alex and his team at Connect Chiropractic do it different. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. At Connect Chiropractic, they use a special tool for adjustments focused on restoring nerve and muscle function. It's not just making your neck and back feel better, although mine already do. Connect Chiropractic can help with headaches, sciatica, vertigo, and more. Schedule an appointment now at GoConnectChiro.com. Tell them Vinny sent you. GoConnectChiro.com.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy high-end Beautyrest and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hasseless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like the Sealy Posturepedic Glendale Falls Queen. Was on sale for $955, now just $362. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hasseless.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
The Jordan Love era in Titletown is officially underway. Love rallied Green Bay from a 17-point fourth quarter deficit, and the Packers beat the Saints by a final score of 18-17 on Sunday afternoon.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Love to Dobbs.
Love, who finished the game with 259 yards and 2 total touchdowns, led the largest comeback for the Pack since 2018 to help secure Green Bay's second win of the season. Packers will get right back to work this week. The Detroit Lions come in for a Thursday night clash in just a few days. The Milwaukee Brewers will have to keep the champagne on ice after they lose by a final score of 6-1 on Sunday afternoon to the Miami Marlins. The magic number to clinch the NL Central remains at 1. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at the roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. We're wading through the weeds a little bit on 94 eastbound, specifically from about 70th towards the Stadium interchange right now as you head towards the Marquette. You are tacking on an extra 7 minutes right now. It's a 13-minute drive from the zoo to downtown. Bit slow as well on 43 southbound from Brown Deer to downtown, That's 17 minutes right now, an extra 6.
Traffic is brought to you by Crest Cadillac. Find them at crestcadillac.com. Crest Cadillac of Brookfield, located on Capitol Drive, just west of Interstate 41. Discover Crest Cadillac at crestcadillac.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy, humid today. Showers moving through southeast Wisconsin right now, especially stronger towards the north. Fond du Lac, Dodge, Sheboygan counties, a high of 72 today. Cloudy and muggy overnight, some lingering showers possible, a low of 66. More rain likely for Tuesday, a high of 70. Showers possible again on Wednesday with a high of 70 as well. More low 70s for your Thursday and Friday. Could be a bit warmer inland to end the week. Right now in Madison, it's 63, Green Bay 65, in Waukesha, showers and 64, and in Milwaukee, cloudy skies and 68 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:09.
Win or lose, are we feeling the love this morning? Well, now that we've had time to sleep on it, let's talk about it. It's time for Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ Now.
Who slept? Sandy Maxx, Steve's Committee, Brandon Snide, the sports guy. In studio, ready to talk some Packers. And we have a lot of different kinds of experiences. I was at the game. Sandy was celebrating somewhere in Bayview.
At the Newport is where I watched the game.
Yes.
It was a very good time. I can give you some flavor from my experience.
Boisterous crowd.
Great crowd. And one woman in particular at the bar one of the reasons I love going to a live sporting event or going to a bar where you've got Packers fans is that sharp fan who knows the game but also has a flavorful opinion about it. So I didn't get this gal's name, but I fist bumped at her when we got the 2 touchdowns and had a lot of fun. But she's one of those people who's like, change your cleats when
everybody's got a theory.
Yeah, but when Love was slipping, he almost did the splits during that one toss early in the game, and I was worried. I'm like, oh, please don't pull a hamstring, not now. But she said, change your cleats, and then you could see the closed captioning. The Fox announcer said, and maybe they should consider changing cleats. So there were like 3 times that she shouted something very pertinent to the game, and then you'd see the announcers say it later. So
fans are smart.
She was insightful and fun.
Yeah,
she was
fans
a lot
are
of
smart
fun.
about that stuff. So Brandon, you're the big-time sports guy. I don't want to do a ton of X's and O's because let's look at it this way. It was a tale of 2 games, really.
Yeah, it was.
The first 3 quarters plus 3 minutes, all Saints. A lot of defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Jordan Love tried his best. Obviously, we were shorthanded. I think at least 5 starters out or whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, we kicked the field goal, and it was like a switch was flipped. And the next 13 minutes or so, some of the best football I've ever seen at Lambeau Field.
I was just talking to Kyle Wallace, who hosts a show on the 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, about that actual play. I said, when the Packers kicked the field goal, there was a sense in the arena, in the stadium. I was on the field, humble brag, of course, on the field, and people were starting to kind of stand up a little bit and look around, like, look at the clock, look at the game. Okay, if we get a stop here and we get a score here, maybe it's possible. And they did just that. Rashawn Gary was a one-man wrecking crew yesterday.
My goodness, yeah.
And
that was the first big applause of the game at the Newport, was when he got to Derek Carr.
And when that happened, he took Derek Carr. That actually took Derek Carr out of the game.
Yeah.
And then brought in Jameis Winston. And when they kicked that field goal, and then they got to stop on the next Saints offensive drive, and the Packers got the ball back, you got to give. I mean, if you were telling me 2 months ago Jordan Love would lead a fourth quarter comeback down 17 points in week 3 at the home opener at Lambeau Field, after not scoring the points, after you said it, Steve, 5 of your best players overall, 5 of your best, couple Hall of Famers might be in that mix.
Yeah.
We're not playing. You're throwing to kids, literally kids. Jaden Reed's like 22 years old.
You made a great point with Vince and Eric this morning in Wisconsin Morning News about and I noticed this too. Kathy and I both said, wow, that's interesting. The reception that Jordan Love got at the introductions before the game, as loud as I've ever heard a player be when he's introduced at Lambeau Field.
I said the same. Eric,
what a wonderful experience, and without anybody encouraging it. Come on, fans, get loud. How cool.
And I said this to Eric this morning. He kind of looked at me like, I don't know about that. I'm like, I've done a lot of Packer games. I've been to a lot of Packer games. I took notice yesterday. It was extremely, extremely loud. And obviously, anticipation, being on the road the first 2 weeks of the year can probably do that, as well as people were just sick of number 12, and Jordan Love's played pretty good.
I would say Love hasn't been an embarrassment.
Yeah.
There's a good reason to get behind him.
Going into the week, he led the league in touchdown passes, so he's been pretty good.
I mean,
so
I feel like we're
excited.
sort of in Aaron Who world, aren't we?
Well, now we are. The Jets are a wreck ball.
Yeah. It's kind of like an afterthought. I don't even really think about him anymore because he's on another team. I got Jordan Love to be excited about, and I'm really excited about it. If you have a thought or comments, 855-616-1620, the old National Bank talk and text line. We're going to have some fun. I want to hear about Sandy's experience at the Newport, the iconic Newport in Bayview.
I used to live around the corner.
You did?
Yeah.
In the, what era was that?
In the 2000s.
Oh, nice. Recently.
What era?
Recently. No. Well, because here, you know why I asked that question?
Why?
Because in the 70s, when I was playing softball, that was the home of great softball.
Sure.
So that was my
You got
era.
all that space there on Bay.
Were you a part of that team? Were you a part of
No,
that?
I wasn't good enough to be on that team, but I
you
remember
had to,
playing
try
against
out.
some of those guys. They were some of the best.
Now there's a huge dog park there.
Yeah. Which doesn't thrill me, but dogs got to have a place to go to. All right, so let's get some comments. I got a few more I want to make on this incredible comeback. Legendary comeback by a very young player, a very young team. And, if you want to throw in a little nudge at the Bears and the Vikings, oh, my goodness.
That is welcome.
0-3.
There's no need.
Oh, my goodness. Lots of misery in those places, but not here. We're having fun on this Monday Morning Quarterback Monday edition. And, oh, by the way, Sandy, we have 2 of these this week.
I know.
We have a Friday edition, which will be a little bit later because we have Political Power Hour at 9, but at 10 o'clock we'll tee up the Thursday night game, which last time I checked was against the Detroit Lions, who are tied with us for first place. I see a call coming in. I see text coming in. Let's do it. Monday Morning Quarterback. Sandy, Steve, Brandon, after this.
You're listening to the Monday Morning Quarterback on Wisconsin's radio station, WTMJ. Stay in touch. You can reach us on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. Almost time to switch vehicles, but I'm still driving. Drove it up to Lambeau yesterday. Absolutely fantastic gas mileage. Get this, 28 on the highway. It might have got more than that because that gas gauge did not move all the way up to Lambeau Field. And you also get this, 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage, 200 points of inspection to make sure your vehicle is ready to go when you buy a pre-owned vehicle from Heiser, full vehicle history report, 24-hour roadside assistance, and oh, by the way, they throw in a full tank of fuel, fresh oil, and new wiper blades. What else do they do? Well, they never charge you over MSRP. It's always under MSRP, and there's no hidden market adjustment fees. Honest pricing, fantastic customer service. One of the many reasons, and there are a lot more, you can go to HeiserLincoln.com, Heiser.com, or one of their great locations in the Milwaukee area. That's why they say every day, today's your day.
Charge into October. Get your Brewers postseason tickets now. Secure your spot and prepare to unleash chaos, make mayhem, and watch stars come to life in the spotlight of postseason baseball. The Brewers' moments you live for are coming. Make sure you don't miss a single pivotal pitch or season-changing home run. Get your Brewers postseason tickets now at brewers.com/postseason.
Hi, I'm John McGivern. If you're looking for a Medicare plan with freedom and flexibility, choose a Network Health Medicare Advantage plan. Plans start as low as $0 a month with $0 doctor visits and $0 prescription drugs, plus vision, hearing, and dental benefits. For 40 years, Network Health has been a trusted expert in making health insurance affordable and understandable. Don't wait. Call 833-7-NETWORK today.
Don't go anywhere. The Monday Morning Quarterback returns right after this on WTMJ.
There you go. That is what it sounded like at the Newport in Bayview.
When was that recorded?
That was right at the first touchdown.
First touchdown?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we've been waiting a while.
They were getting ready for that.
We've been waiting a while for that one. That was such fun. And you know what else they do at the Newport in Bayview? You get shots for every touchdown.
Old school.
It's a
Yes.
Midori kind of thing.
I think it's a Wisconsin.
It is a Wisconsin
requirement.
thing. We
yeah.
used to do that in my parents' basement, and by the third quarter, some people.
Yeah.
If it was a good game, you were
If you were
struggling.
in the Lynn Dickey area, you drank a lot of
But
booze.
think about that. I mean, where I was, like I told you earlier, there was one woman who was on it, and she knew her stuff, and so she was the one hollering out in the right way, not obnoxiously, just, at the interception in the third quarter. No way! Are you serious? And for Christ's sake, somebody get open! And she was shouting, "Move the chains" a whole lot. So there was a lot of. So by the time we finally got to that. That was a cheer. And I would have let it go longer because that was a really long cheer. But somebody said, "Holy!" And they didn't say cow. So it'd been waiting a while. So
What was the reaction like when the Saints missed that go-ahead field goal attempt?
At the end, yeah.
it was delight. It was joy. I mean, it was a really happy vibe at the Newport in a great way.
The stadium went nuts.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's funny when you're at a game and on a TV you don't necessarily see it. But wherever the side the field goal is being kicked on, you get that reaction first, and then it just ripples through because you can't always see from the other end. So it's a delayed reaction at the field.
A couple of people have commented on the text line. I also had some comments yesterday that the Packers fans have been very patient with Jordan Love. I think that's the right answer because this is a new guy. And it started with that great ovation that we talked about in the first segment. And this is a guy who has no fear. And this actually is kind of the point of the way I'm going to answer Steve from Hartford's question. You're on the Monday Morning Quarterback, Monday edition, Steve. Welcome from Hartford.
How you doing, Steve? Great game yesterday. Yeah, I was just wondering if you or Sandy had any thoughts on the coaching decision prior to their first field goal that they kicked. They passed on one, went for it, and did not come away with any score. And later on, that three might have been putting them up 21-17. They wouldn't have had to depend on a Saints missed kick. I was just wondering what your thoughts, and I'm not trying to.
No. It's a great question.
It's a great win. But.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steve. Here, I'll answer it for you. I like the decision to go for it. Show that you are in this to win this, not kick field goals. They didn't get it. Unfortunately, Jordan Love threw it in front of the receiver. There was a collective groan in the stands, right? Because the game had not gone well to that point. We were still scoreless. But I like the gumption, if you want to use an old term, of the team that said, you know what? Let's see if we can score a touchdown here. So I had zero problem with that. And in the end results, it didn't hurt us. That was my reaction to it. I love the decision to show Jordan Love, we got full confidence, full faith in you. Go win this game, young man. And that's what I took away from it. It was amazing. It was an electric crowd at Lambeau, and I really, really, really appreciate that from the fans. From the 414 on the Old National Bank talk and text line. Let's see. I'm wondering how or why do they kick a field goal from the left or right side of the field? Why not just down the middle? What affects the position? Thank you. That's a technical question. It's basically on the hash marks, right? They don't stick it in the middle usually.
It's wherever the play previously ends.
Yeah, closest to that hash mark.
Yeah, closest to that
That's
hash.
all there is to it. That's a great technical question. John I alluded to this earlier, Jim from Sheboygan. Can you imagine how the Bears GM feels when he sees Love play compared to Justin Fields? I mean, that's a whole nother show, and I'm not a sports talk guy, but
it's just great to see.
It's
because nobody flaps their gums more than that side of the fan base, than the Chicago Bears. In April and May and June, when nothing's being played but practice and the draft, and then season comes and they're doing mock drafts in September.
Look, I worked in Chicago for many years. I lived in the Chicago area for a good number of years. I understand their passion. We are all passionate about sports, and Wisconsin is no different. And, as much as we all want to pile on when things are going, we'll have fun with it, good-natured fun, but they're going to tear themselves apart today on Talk Radio in Chicago.
I saw a tweet. It said the Chicago Bears are the new Detroit Lions.
Oh, I mean, that's right to the heart. The Lions are now our competition. So they're 2-1
until Thursday when we
I'll
beat
say
them.
Thursday night should be an interesting matchup.
That should be.
I'm starting to dislike that fan base. Yeah, a lot of talk for not doing nothing for 50 years.
Well, they did beat the Packers twice.
Down.
Yeah, beat the Packers twice.
Not with Jordan Love though. Not Jordan Love led Packers.
So what are we thinking about collectively as we have 3 games into a long season, 2-1. I'm kind of surprised by the success early. You never know what you're getting with a new quarterback, and this is the first one we've had in 17 years. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pleased with the fan base. They seem to be patient. I didn't hear a lot of groaning, other than they dropped the pass or whatever. But no one was yelling, names at Jordan Love where I was sitting. I kind of appreciate that attitude.
At the Newport, when they showed Joe Barry on the big screen, there was no booing. No, but it's like we hadn't scored yet. It was like that was a long time to wait. So I feel that there's a good vibe and a good spirit of optimism around the team so far, still knowing, because you just said it yourself as a lifelong Packers fan, long season. So you're not blindly going, okay, here we go.
I was
in
ready
your face, everybody.
Yeah, I was ready to accept what happened. I said before the season, I'll say it again. My anticipation is I just want a good, well-played season. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'd love to see the success of Rashawn Gary get back to where he was. I'm excited for Jordan Love. Nobody knows what he's going to be. I mean, he's played 3 games. He's had some success. He's up near the top when it comes to touchdowns in the NFL. Let's enjoy the ride. Let's have fun this year, because this is one of those seasons it's kind of unknown.
I've gotten to wear my victory shirt twice now.
Is that the victory shirt?
Yes, this is the green lacy victory shirt.
What's the losing shirt? Do you have
one?
No,
yeah, just gray. Just a gray V-neck T-shirt.
Sad.
Yeah, I think I wore black last weekend.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be said though.
Or last Monday.
And I'm going to say it. This is far and away has exceeded expectations with Jordan Love. And I think people fail to realize with this quarterback, number 10 in Green Bay, his first year starting, he has been doing this without Aaron Jones, without Christian Watson, without David Bakhtiari, without Elton Jenkins. Those are 4 of your 5 of your best offensive players, maybe 4 of your 5 best players in general. And if you told me 3 months ago, hey, you'll be, let's say 3 or 4 plays away from being undefeated in the season, 2 of those games on the road, I think any Packers fan would have signed up for that. You're 2-1, and you're home. Now you got the Lions. That will be the true test, the first true test, I think, of the year. I think going on the road for the first 2 weeks was a test, but I think the Lions coming into your home on a short week, and hopefully you get some of those guys back. But he's the real deal. I tweeted out yesterday, he's him. He's quarterback number 1 in Green Bay, and he's not going anywhere.
He's the next guy up.
He's the next guy. And who says you can't have 3? Oh, it can't be done. It's never been done. Yeah, until it's done.
I was on the morning show on ESPN 94.5 and our station, 620 WTMJ, from 9 to 10, and they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, the fact that I got to see him play a lot because I'm a season ticket holder, and now Jordan Love, and I go back to Bart Starr. My dad took us to games.
Yeah.
The legend
That's
of legends.
Awesome.
Yeah. So they all looked at me like, how old are you? I said, I was a kid. I went to see him play.
I stopped to see Steve yesterday. They thought I was like a fan waiting to get an autograph from Steve. I'm like, I used to be his producer. I'm here.
Who's that big guy? Is he a former player?
You got people waiting for Steve?
I have one challenging question for the both of you when we return about how this game might have turned out differently.
That's a tease, Sandy Max.
Yes. Next.
This is the Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ.
Hey, Wisconsin, winter is right around the corner. Get your house ready before the cold hits. WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here for Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase, brought to you by senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz, Hair Construction, Current Electric, Outdoor Living Unlimited, and Kohler Services. Join us every week to discuss ways to weatherproof your home here on News Radio 620 WTMJ. If you can't catch us live, visit Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase under Features on WTMJ.com.
I'd been living with the snoring problem nearly my entire life. In fact, I can remember my mother teasing me, saying that I'd snore so loudly that the walls of our house would cave in with each breath.
Fast forward only recently, when Jessica's snoring forced her husband out of their bed and into another room. It's a pretty common situation. We call it a sleep divorce, and that's not good. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent. After Jessica had a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, we found that her snoring problem required a simple solution. In-office balloon sinuplasty. It's a 20-minute procedure, and it works. You won't find it offered by big box healthcare, but you will find it at Advent, where we offer every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution available. You can hear more of Jessica's story at adventknowsjessica.com and take your first step towards breathing well so you can live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Fleet Fest is kicking off this Friday for 3 days only at Fleet Farm. Find in-store only deals on top brands and fall favorites, like 10% off select hunting gear, power tools, and wild bird feed. And get 20% off select workwear and fishing gear. Plus, mark your calendars for free pumpkin painting this Saturday only from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Don't miss deals and fun for everyone in the family this weekend at Fleet Fest. We have what you need for your everyday life. Fleet Farm.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Upgrade and transform your current bathroom space with Sidex Window Siding and Bath. The best in the business is Sidex. Free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ or John Mercure. They're doing our project. Old tub shower is out. New beautiful state-of-the-art walk-in shower is going in as we speak. Seasoned design consultants with 30 years of experience, family-owned since 1988. As a matter of fact, Joe is honoring his dad's legacy with top-tier products and expert craftsmen. It's Sidex, the best in the business. It's Sidex.
You're listening to the Monday Morning Quarterback on Wisconsin's radio station, WTMJ.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Love to Dobbs.
Monday Morning Quarterback, Brandon Snide, Sandy Maxx, yours truly, Steve Scaffidi, on this Monday edition. A bonus week because we have a Friday edition. It'll be a little bit later than we typically do this. 10 o'clock hour, of course, we have Bill McCutcheon and Joe Zepecki, the political power hour at 9. But we're going to get to that Packers game, whatever happens Thursday night. It is on Prime. A couple people asked, is there a local broadcast? Yes. I know for sure Green Bay and Milwaukee will have a local station. One of the local broadcast stations will carry that. That always has to be the case. Some of the other outlying areas, I don't know. You're going to have to kind of fend for yourself and find a broadcast somewhere. Or if you're a Prime subscriber, you can watch it there.
This whole Prime thing is so annoying. I don't like it.
It's the marketplace of television now, man.
It's delayed. I need updates fast.
Yeah.
But it's a gold package game, so get your butts up there.
All right. Sandy Maxx.
I have a momentary question. I'm not bringing the whole thing down, but I have a really big question. If the Saints quarterback, Derek Carr, had not left the game due to his shoulder injury and played that second half, what's your level of optimism that the Packers would have pulled out a win?
I think they would have won.
The Packers still would have won?
Derek Carr did. He didn't do anything that made me think like, oh boy,
yeah,
he's out now. Now we're done, or now we can win. He was 13 of 18 for 100 yards and a touchdown. They only scored 17 total points. 7 of those came on a punt return for a touchdown.
I agree with Brandon. Here's the reason. The biggest play in the game for the Saints was the punt return for a touchdown. They only scored 10 points on offense, and that was with Derek Carr. So it would have been the same kind of crazy ending that we saw. And let's be honest here. If their kicker, the rookie kicker who looked like he was 15 years old, my wife said, Kathy, if he makes the kick, we're talking about Jordan Love trying to bring the Packers back with, 68 seconds left. So, I mean, all these crazy things that happen in football, that's what I love about football. Anything could have happened. But, to the question, I think we had a similar type game because that punt return was a big deal for the Saints.
Yeah, and I think every game, the context of every game and every play changes, Sandy, for me at least, right? Like, you could always be like, well, what if the Packers had Aaron Jones? Would they have not scored in 3 quarters? Probably not. What if they had Jair Alexander? Does the Saints score on that second drive that they had? Maybe. You could debate it all back and forth, but Derek Carr really, outside of that first few years in the league, hasn't really shown to be that guy where you're like, I don't know, if he's out there, we're done for. To me, at least. And maybe, if you dig deeper in the numbers, he could be. But Jameis Winston's the backup. He was pretty good. He made a couple of plays yesterday, kept a couple of those drives alive. He moved with his legs. I think he's more mobile than Derek Carr. And for whatever reason, the Packers cannot defend mobile quarterbacks. So, I don't think it would have changed. I think they still would have won.
A game like this, where it is such an exciting, big finish in the fourth quarter that you had to wait for, validates me personally, because I am the perpetual optimist. At every game, I stay till the bottom of the ninth inning at a Brewers game. I am the last person out, because you go all this way to see a live event. You never know how it's going to end. And Steve, you joke that you stayed for the whole game. If you left early and heard that in your car as you're in your parking lot, it would be so disappointing. You want to be part of that excitement.
This is a true story. A buddy of mine, Ryan, one of my best friends, went to the game yesterday. I'm on the field. He's up in section, I think, 125. He texts me in the second quarter at halftime. We just left. And I go,
wait, you say second quarter?
Halftime. We just left. Wow. I go, you left?
That's early.
I was like, you left? So then they kicked the field goal. Then they stopped, and then they scored. It was 17-11. I sent him the eyeball emojis. And he goes, yeah, I know. And this is the third time he's done this. I said, you can't leave. You can't leave.
I've told the story before. The famous Antonio Freeman Monday Night Football where the ball bounces on him and what's his name? Al Michaels.
Yeah.
Is it a catch?
Shoulder.
Yeah. We were driving and heard that because it was a long game. It was a Monday night game. Yeah.
Gross
and
outside.
We listened. I mean, we were very excited in the car, my wife and I, but it's a much different experience than watching in person. Now, that being said, there was a lot of people that left their seats like we did and kind of watched some of the monitors. The lounge upstairs in the club section was wild. The atrium was wild. That's also an experience for fans, too. But if you got in your car and at halftime, did you miss some excitement at Lambeau Field?
Yeah, and there was a lot of people because I was out in back and forth between the stadium and the parking lot, and there was a lot of people that were leaving.
Oh, yeah, that's always the case.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get going.
Got to get in front of traffic.
From the Old National Bank Talk and Text Line, 855-616-1620, a fun one from Diane, who texted in, have you ever seen Matt LaFleur so animated and vocal after a game? This game actually made him, dare I say it, happy.
Yeah.
From Diane.
He was almost emotional after the game, and he said
he choked up.
He did choke up, and he said he's never been a part of a win like this. And I think you're also starting to see the after effects of the former quarterback. This is Matt LaFleur's team. There's no denying it. It's his offense. If it succeeds, he's thrilled about it. If it doesn't succeed, he's going to take the heat for it. And when it succeeds like it did yesterday, he's feeling that. And keep in mind, when Jordan Love was drafted, this is when COVID happened. Matt LaFleur celebrated on live TV. They didn't know he may not know the cameras were rolling on him, but he was pounding his fist on the table. He was excited to draft Jordan Love in 2020. This is his guy. And when he goes out and does a game-winning drive in his first start at Lambeau Field in front of 70,000 plus, it's got to feel good.
Somebody dropped a tidbit at the morning show I was on yesterday that this is now that was their 10th straight home opener winning streak. Now it's 11.
11, yeah.
That's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
All right, I'm going to have you keep one more segment because I have a question to ask about Phantom, but I also want to ask you a question before the break.
Yes.
Thursday night, where are you going to be at? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet. I'm going to try and get invited to my friend Joe's party. Joe has a garage party.
Oh.
And anyway, so it's pretty epic, and that's where everybody brings the potluck. And I believe Jose's cheesecake was the winner of the last party that he had. So I'm gonna get in touch with Joe and see if I can go to his garage
party.
party.
If he's listening, and just send
I know,
me a text.
but I hate to just kind of horn it. You hate to invite yourself, but he's good people.
Tell me
he's
to
fun.
record him and put him on the show. You can make that claim.
True, we can make a show out of it. But yeah,
All right.
so that's the plan.
We're going to take a break, and it's a little extended edition. Sandy and I are going to talk about some more sports stuff in a second, but I want to ask Brandon about this. This is a growing controversy among Packers fans who go to the games at Lambeau. Sit or stand? Oh, my goodness, there's a lot of debate on this. We're going to get to that one after this on WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. The Monday Morning Quarterback returns right after this on WTMJ.
Previously, it has been gently loved. But here, you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
Once you've lived with it, you know there's no comparison. Hydronic heating is the best in comfort. And when it comes to hydronic heating, the man in the red van can do it all with a 96% efficiency modulating heat boiler. Slant fin wall-mounted radiating heat, cast iron radiators, or how about in-floor heat that we can even lay in below your new driveway on your new home build, so you never have to shovel. Now we're talking.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
So here's why you'd want an Armstrong air heat pump. Consider a powerful electric backup to your gas furnace that can do the work of your furnace very efficiently. That means lower energy bills, and it has a rock-solid 12-year warranty and can act as an AC unit too. But here's the real gist of it. With all the government tax credits you get, you almost get the darn thing free. So see the man in the red van to get reliable efficiency from an Armstrong air heat pump.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
This is the Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ.
Stand in the place where you live.
Welcome to Charlie joining us for like a little bit of an extension of Monday Morning Quarterback. We'll let Brandon get onto his busy daytime schedule, which I don't know what you're up to today.
It's nap 30.
I love that. I love that. If you're wanting to celebrate the Jordan Love victory, though, we have made a playlist. We made it after the first victory, but it's still alive, and added some Led Zeppelin and Taylor Swift to it. If you want to text the word LOVE, L-O-V-E, to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620. Text the word LOVE. We'll text you back the link to listen to our Jordan Love playlist of love songs.
So I raised this issue before the break. This has become a very hot topic on social media. And again, people get mad when I say it, but I've been a season ticket holder for a long time, and I've experienced both sitting in the bowl, which is the outdoor section, the old section, and in my new club section seats, not new anymore, 20 years ago now, as of this year. My perspective is on standing in the bowl. I just think you got to be respectful. Is there a reason to stand the whole game? I don't think so. And there seems to be a lot of animosity towards older fans now. Like, well, they've had their time. They're not, good supporters of the team because they're not standing the whole game. Well, if somebody's 80 years old, I don't really think it's reasonable to expect them to stand for an entire 3 or 3.5 hour football game. That's just me. So I've seen it both ways. I understand the passion. I did notice yesterday, because I was watching for this, that in the bowl, I saw less people standing for the whole game and you were on the field. What did you see?
Yeah, I agree with that. There was definitely less people standing. We talked about this before on this topic, actually. When I did the Cowboys game last year, I don't think anybody sat down for that game, for the whole game, which to me is a little bit probably over. You don't stand in your living room.
Yeah, like why?
For the whole game. I will say this, though. I will push back a tiny bit that I think that if you are a fan, and when we hear players and coaches saying, well, we feed off your energy, your energy is palpable. Having been on the field now, that is a fact. You feel it. You feel it if you're just standing. If 50,000 people are just standing up, you feel it. It is real. Like, it is there. And on big plays, i.e. 3rd and 3 or 4th and 2 or something like that, I think that if you're sitting, that you should be standing.
But when
if you can.
When the Packers have the ball, you want to be quiet. So why you wouldn't be standing and yelling?
I think when people stand, and this is the case for me, a standing is like just a thing you do when you're nervous.
Yeah, it could be.
Like I can't sit. I got to move. I got to be up. And I think that's part of it too. But I think if you go to Lambeau Field and you want to create a game day experience for the Green Bay Packers, stand up and be loud on those key moments.
Sandy, would you sit or stand the whole game? Or a combination of both?
Combination of both. There was not a lot to stand for in the first 3.5.
That also may be why
quarters.
People weren't standing.
So there's a
that's
lot
a
of
good point.
that. You know, I've been to many concerts and many sporting events, and good Lord, you just stay away from the people who stand, because I don't want to get into a confrontation. How many fights have we seen so far this year at NFL games? It's if I get told one more time or have to watch somebody snap and go, I paid my money, I can do what I want. It's like, I don't want to be near it. At this point, you know, how can you get an usher involved? It just tends to get ugly, and it's so disappointing, because you're right, especially at Lambeau Field, where this is a tradition for family after family after family. And one of the coolest experiences I ever had was sitting next to an older farmer couple who were just super fun, and they're there to see the game. I would never expect these 75-year-old people to stand through the whole game because the cool 20-somethings or 50-somethings in front of them want to stand and jaw.
Dave joins us from Howard's Grove. I just drove right by that yesterday a couple times. Last time I checked, home of Lakeland University. Hey, Dave.
Good morning. My son and I drove to Kansas City for the Thursday night opener with the Lions.
Wow.
From Detroit. Lived here in Howard's Grove 31 years. And they stood for the whole game in that stadium, both the Lions fans and all the Kansas City fans. My son's in a wheelchair, and they block his view when they do that. People obviously you cannot stand. But they stood for that entire game, right to the end, even though the Lions won. The most polite fans I've ever been at for an away stadium, too. They were great.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Dave. You're kind of breaking up there. But that's what I'm concerned about. The reason I brought this up is some of the reports I was getting in the stadium, because I'm connected to a lot of people in and around the games when I'm there, that some fans were calling the security folks who were then getting involved in these heated conversations between fans. That's not what I want to see happen at a football game. I just don't want to. So, again, I go back to what I said before. Respect the other fans. Not saying you can't stand, but just be respectful. If you have someone behind you that, like in this case, is in a wheelchair, I think showing some respect, is that asking too much? I don't think so. Seems like the decent thing to do. And if you start getting, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, you start getting the security folks involved, you start getting heated conversations in the stands, it leads to, and you get a lot of violent potential in the stands of stadiums. And I'll tell you in a second, this is not a good trend, and one that we've seen in other countries, not so much here, but that trend and that violence may be on the uptick, and that's something that I'm concerned about. So it seems like an innocent sit-or-stand argument, but there could be a hell of a lot more to that story.
But the fan experience has been a hot topic this year so far, especially since the very first home Badgers game at Camp Randall, about loudness and getting rowdy and getting energy into it. And we also heard it at Lambeau, when to be quiet, when to be loud. We got Jim from Fond du Lac on the Old National Bank talking text line, 855-616-1620. Jim texted that had Packers tickets since 1957 when they built the new City Stadium. It's old crabby guys like you and me and Steve who want everybody to sit. When my kids go to the game, they think it's awesome that everybody stands and gets fired up.
I'm not saying you have to sit the whole time. I stood for some of the game yesterday because I wanted to stretch. But you do what you got to do. I'm saying be respectful. And if you're blocking someone's view for 3.5 hours, in my world, I don't think that's respectful.
Yeah, if there's a timeout, like sit down.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
Or it's halftime. Or
yeah, I mean, come on.
You know, when the Saints are 1st and 10 from the 20, like I don't necessarily think standing is something you have to do. I think in big moments, it's fine.
Here's one from the 608. I mean, this is something you got to acknowledge. Then we're going to get to break. I am 5 foot nothing inches and 75 years old. I can barely see over the person in front of me when they sit. If everyone stands, I can kiss the game goodbye.
I'd like to know where the next texter, though, from 920, where their section is. On the Old National Bank talking text line, 855-616-1620. 920 texted, I have season tickets. The ushers around us will not let us stand.
Boo.
That's what I'm talking
but
about.
I wonder, do we have standing sections and sitting sections?
The ushers have control.
And every usher is different.
Yep.
No, I mean, in the future, would that be a way? So that way people who
perhaps
want to enjoy the game their way, whether it's sitting or standing, can freely.
All right, let's continue the conversation after the break. 855-616-1620. We'll let Brandon get to nap 30 or whatever you're calling it now. He's been up since early this. What time did you wake up this morning?
3:45. I got home.
I was up at 4:30. You not that much before me.
Yeah, but you get to have a nice, relaxing morning. Have some coffee.
I was here bright and early. Nobody was here.
I got to come in here and work right away.
I know. Well, you can come and say hi to me.
I could.
Buy me a cup of coffee.
Or you can come down here and say hi to me.
I could. It works. As we just said, it works both ways. Respect. Sandy, Steve, We'll see you later, Brandon. Brandon Snide, big-time sports guy, Monday morning quarterback. We're going to add to the conversation a little bit, but if you have a comments and you want to add to the show, add to the conversation, 855-616-1620, the Old National Bank talk and text line. Quick break.
Sandy and Steve will be back after this.
What's that sound?
That's the sweet sound of you, small business owner, not having to worry about cybersecurity.
Sounds nice.
U.S. Cellular is offering cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99 per line.
Does that include protection from phishing?
Of course, unless you mean like the kind. Get cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99. U.S. Cellular, built for business, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
Sharpen your investment and retirement strategy at the Annex Wealth Management Navigating the Markets presentation. What are the headwinds for portfolios in excess of $1 million? Will the long-awaited recession actually happen? And what can you do to calibrate your portfolio? Navigating the Markets takes place in Mequon September 26th and Brookfield October 5th. These premier events are open to everyone. Complete details and sign up at annexwealth.com/events. The American economy is at a critical juncture. What's next? Join us for Navigating the Markets from Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, I'm John McGivern. If you're looking for a Medicare plan with freedom and flexibility, choose a Network Health Medicare Advantage plan. Plans start as low as $0 a month with $0 doctor visits and $0 prescription drugs, plus vision, hearing, and dental benefits. For 40 years, Network Health has been a trusted expert in making health insurance affordable and understandable. Don't wait. Call 833-7-NETWORK today.
Wouldn't you love a pair of high heels that feel like sneakers?
That reminds me of the Parker sofa at Penny Mustard. It looks like a sleek but terribly rigid sofa where mad men sipped martinis.
But you won't believe how incredibly comfortable it is.
Yeah, if sofas had felt like this in the 60s, those men wouldn't have been so mad.
Come see the Parker sofa with tufted seat backs and streamlined metal legs, starting at $42.24 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Most companies focus on the product. At Semper-Fi, we focus on our people and you, and that's never let us down. That's why you can count on Semper-Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper-Fi.
Debbie Lozica here. I've been wanting to shade in my backyard for years, and now that dream is coming true thanks to my friends at Comfort Awnings located in Burlington. It's a local family-owned company that provides expert installation servicing southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. They came out to my house and walked me through the process, from different colors and fabrics, custom fit to my home's exterior and backyard. Right now, you can receive $250 off awnings and screens until the end of September. Call 414-AWNINGS for a free estimate or visit comfortawnings.com.
Is your paycheck not going as far as it used to? You'll make good money at John Deere Horicon Works. Full-time factory workers at John Deere Horicon Works start at $23 to $25 per hour plus health insurance with no premiums and annual wage increases. Potential bonuses, $1,000 sign-on bonuses, and more at John Deere Horicon Works. So if you're tired of that small paycheck, move up to the big time at John Deere Horicon. Apply now at deere.com/Horicon. That's deere.com/Horicon.
WTMJ Now.
It's interesting, Sandy, that I think this is how I expect it to fall. It's kind of like 50-50 on the sit-stand thing.
In the stands when you're at an event?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not telling you can't stand, because that's counterproductive to fandom, right? You're going to scream. I've done it. My brother-in-law, Jeff, this is way back in the 90s, Yancey Thigpen dropped a pass in the end zone that meant the Packers are going to the playoffs for the first time or winning the division. I forget what it was. And he literally jumped on my shoulders. He's like all of 140 pounds. I could handle it. But, I mean, that's the enthusiasm you want in the fans.
Yeah.
Right? In the stands. And so I'm not going to ever want to push back on that. All I'm asking
Yancey
is...
Thigpen. I just love that you dropped a Yancey Thigpen on us today.
How about that, huh? Wonder where he is now. He's long retired. Because that was the 90s. I want people to be respectful to each other. And there's got to be a happy medium here. And you made this great point about security getting involved. They are going to get involved. From my understanding from the Green Bay Packers, they're going to tell people if someone complains about someone using profanity or refusal to sit down in front of them, they may ask you and demand that you sit down. That's my understanding. You may not like it, but that's what's going to happen.
Just so sorry that it has to get often confrontational and unpleasant instead of just, hey, there are a bunch of people behind you.
Figure it out.
It's also like read the room. Like if you were the four people standing up and the rest of the folks pretty much want to sit, just be cool.
Yeah. I mean, you're there to have fun,
Bend your
right?
knees. Sit down. Like, we'll all get up. Because it is fun when there's a home run at a
my
Brewers
goodness.
game or when there's such excitement at the Packers game. Yeah, stand up. High five.
Yeah. Celebrate
Have a
it.
great time.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean
stand
3.5
the whole
hours
time.
of constant celebration. Like, if you're standing at halftime, what are you doing? Come on, walk around. Go get yourself a beer, a soda, or a hot dog, or a brat. And I said this on Twitter yesterday. Lambeau Field, that brat I had at halftime, spectacular. Absolutely, like a one I made on my grill. Well done.
It kind of reminds me, and I don't mean to keep bringing up baseball, but like if you're sitting watching a baseball game with a bag of peanuts in your lap and a cold beer,
that's the best.
That's some simple living. That's good stuff.
That's one of my basic 101s on baseball. I will not sit in the stands without two things: a beer and a bag of peanuts. At any baseball, I have to have that. I may not have anything else, but I have to have those two things. That's the essential. I grew up at County Stadium. I went to dozens of games in the summer. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And it's never stopped. That's being a
It's
fan.
that emotional connection. So I think at Lambeau, having a simple brat that hits the spot.
All right.
Little pop there.
Absolutely. All right, coming up next, something nice. Mine's actually Packers related. We'll see what Sandy's going to talk about. Something nice up next on WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this. Brewers fans, remember this?
Broxton is there, and they're the champions.
We're in a division race with our I-94 rivals once again.
Mind into the glove of Willie Adames, who flips to second, and they double off Morrell.
We are officially in the hunt for Brew October.
This has been an amazing season, and if you're going to back out now, we'll remember you when the bandwagon starts taking off.
Brew October on WTMJ is presented by Network Health, Delta Dental, and Annex Wealth Management.
Radon. It's in your home, and Lifetime Radon Solutions can get it out. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. The radon levels in our Menominee Falls home were too high for our comfort level. Lifetime Radon Solutions installed a mitigation system in less than a day to put our minds at ease. Radon's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States. Call Lifetime Radon Solutions today for a free home test with no strings attached. Mitigation systems start as low as $9.95. Take care of your family and do what we did. Call Lifetime Radon Solutions today. LifetimeRadon.com.
WTMJ Now is hitting the road, making a stop in downtown Waupun. Join Sandy Maxx and Steve Scaffidi broadcasting live at Real Sports Cards in Waupun on October 6th from 9 to noon. Real Sports Cards think through every aspect of a card collector's shop, building a modern store to fulfill any hobbyist's needs. Make plans to visit historic downtown Waupun, the city of sculpture, when Sandy and Steve broadcast live from Real Sports Cards, October 6th from 9 to noon. Meet Steve and Sandy and check out the shop, realsportscards.com.
Do you like the safety of a CD, but not the early surrender penalties? Hi, I'm Dr. Aaron Armstrong with Steinbrenner Financial and your Dave Ramsey Smart Vestor Pro. Tune into the Dave Ramsey program weeknights at 9 o'clock or visit steinbrennergroup.com to learn more.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for Dave Dracamp Heating. It seems like prices never stop going up, and yes, that includes heating and cooling. Ensure your home comfort system is in top working order to maximize every bit of gas and electricity that you're paying for. Call Dave Dracamp today to schedule your fall maintenance or free in-home estimate. Freeze inflation before winter freezes you. The friendly teams at Dave Dracamp will ensure everything is running reliably. They'll take good care of you like you're part of their family. Visit DaveDracamp.com. That's DaveDracamp.com.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin plays at an MVP level. They came in ahead of time, make sure they had all of the measurements. When the Pella people left, you had no idea they had been here. You just had the new window. They're great professionals, Gina, and some of the best in the world at what they do.
Right now, pay as low as $19 a month per window or $75 per month on patio doors. Visit PellaWI.com today.
$6.99 APR for 120 months. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offers end 9/30/2023.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a good karma brand station. The world can be a messy place.
Yep.
And we think it could do with a little more nice.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Say something nice to me.
This is Something Nice.
Sandy Maxx, Steve Scaffidi, WTMJ Now, and nice stories on Monday at this time because sometimes the news can get a little heavy, a little intense.
Absolutely.
My nice story is it was a treat to see former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind, surprise, at a peanut parade in their hometown of Plains, Georgia.
That is amazing.
They've gone through some very serious health issues, and they're both in their 90s. I think President Carter turns 99 next weekend.
I think he's now the oldest living president ever, right? He survived to 99. I don't think anyone's lived longer than that.
And he's been suffering with a myriad of different health issues, and he's been in hospice since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and whatever you think about the politics, I don't care about any of that. He's a good human being.
Right.
I don't know how many people he helped with his house building and all that.
Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. His legacy will live on as a very, very good and inspirational person. And did I ever tell you that my parents and I saw Jimmy Carter when he was in office in Plains, Georgia? He was playing softball.
Oh, you told me that story. Yeah, that's
we
wild.
were on a road trip, and
random.
It was fascinating because you can't do that now. I think that we may have spotted like one or two Secret Service people.
Yeah.
His brother Billy was playing along, and we just sat on the bleachers and watched. There's an old yellowed photograph in a family photo album of that, I'm sure.
That's cool.
I'll have to look for it.
Remember Billy Beer?
Yes.
That was
my dad had a six-pack for a really long time, and I think my stepmother finally made him get rid of it. I would love to have had that.
My brother Dave collected beer cans with beer in them, and that was in his collection for a long time. I don't know if he still has that collection. Hey, mine real quick is Jordan Love. He reminded us Packer fans, it's never over. I'm not going to say till the lady sings, but it's never over. And my something nice is I love this kid's enthusiasm. He reminds me, grouchy old man, some people say, that this is about having fun on a football field. And you know what? Entertaining almost 80,000 fans at Lambeau, and probably millions on television across the country because the game was put out pretty national broadcast yesterday for a while until the Bears-Chiefs happened. So Jordan Love is my something nice. I love this kid's attitude, and you know what? Having gone through, and look, I'm the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like any of the end of the Aaron Rodgers era off field, nonsense, drama, excessive drama, just stupidity. I didn't need any of that. This kid, Jordan Love, who waited his turn 3 years, now the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and in 3 games, small sample size admittedly, has charmed, entertained, delighted fans. And I'll say it again because I know Brandon mentioned it, I mentioned it before. To hear that reception for him was like a thank you card from the fans. Thank you for letting us get over Aaron Rodgers' departure. That's what it felt like to me.
He's playing to prove something, but not with a chip on his shoulder.
Absolutely.
With a different demeanor.
Yeah, so well done to both the Carters, who are an amazing first couple, former President of the United States and former First Lady, and Jordan Love. So from both ends of the age spectrum on this week's.
True.
Yeah, we covered it all. Now, talking about covering it all, we're going to get to a serious story. Now, I tried like heck to get the mayor on today's show, and he's got a very busy schedule. He will join us tomorrow. But something happened in Milwaukee relating to police, relating to grant funding, and a major snafu. We'll talk about who screwed up, what this means for the Milwaukee Police Department, and what it says about leadership / government / policing in the biggest city in the state. And that's just the beginning. We've got Dave Spano at 10:35 as well. She's Sandy. I'm Steve. You're listening, of course, to WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
You are a guaranteed winner with Siding Unlimited, Wisconsin's best contractor for your home's beauty and defense. Siding Unlimited is siding, of course, but so much more. Windows, roofing, decks. Siding Unlimited is recognized as the MVP in all those areas by customers and suppliers alike. You want major league work done on your house, so start by contacting Siding Unlimited. SidingUnlimited.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
10 o'clock, we have 69 degrees, partly cloudy, humid today with a chance of showers, maybe even some thunderstorms, and a high of 72. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. We're awaiting word this morning from the Milwaukee Mile on a possible return of the IndyCar Series in 2024. Governor Evers and members of Penske Entertainment, which owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway, are at the historic track this morning. Rumors circulating about the possible return of the IndyCar Series, which has not been at the mile since 2015. Back in August, the track hosted its first NASCAR race in 14 years, which brought in 17,000 people. We'll have any news covered for you here on WTMJ. Today marks 1 week since Planned Parenthood centers in Madison and Milwaukee reopened for abortion services. President of Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, Tanya Atkinson, tells WISC that they moved to restart care following clarification on the state's 1849 law banning abortions.
When the Dane County judge made it very clear twice that the statute does not apply to voluntary abortion, that was the clarification we needed. Worked with legal teams, worked with physicians, worked with stakeholders, and we are very confident in our decision to resume care under the judge's rulings.
Of course, Roe v. Wade overturned in June of last year, turning the power back to the states on how to enforce abortions. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez expected to hold a news conference this morning, days after being hit with federal bribery charges. He's made it clear he's not stepping down, says those who are urging him to resign are, in his words, rushing to judge a Latino. Feds accuse Menendez of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, gold bars, and other gifts in exchange for using his position to enrich 3 New Jersey businessmen. New pledges of U.S. support for South Korea amid growing concern about Russia-North Korea military cooperation. Secretary of State Antony Blinken praising Seoul today for playing an increasing role in global politics in support of Ukraine.
Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand are now regular and active participants in NATO meetings. As President Yoon has said, European and Indo-Pacific security are now truly indivisible.
Mayor of El Paso, Texas, says the city is at a breaking point as thousands of migrants are crossing every day. Here's ABC's Matt Rivers.
In an exclusive interview, Border Patrol Chief Jason Owen says he believes the thousands of migrants that arrived in Eagle Pass, Texas last week was by design. Organized crime draws law enforcement focus there, making it easier to smuggle somewhere else.
In terms of flow and the threats that we're seeing with fentanyl and with the criminal organizations that are our adversary, it's about as bad as I've ever seen it.
Owens wants more agents and resources to help respond to the surge, hoping for something to change.
Passenger numbers at Milwaukee's Mitchell International Airport continue to grow post-2020, but still lag behind pre-pandemic numbers. Overall, Mitchell's had over 214,000 more flyers in the same period last year. 2023's total passenger traffic through July behind 2019 numbers through that same period by about 700,000 flyers. Packers fans smiling today after the team's big come-from-behind win over the Saints at Lambeau Field yesterday. Packers were shut out for 3 quarters before scoring 18 points in the fourth quarter to win 18-17. ESPN Milwaukee's Mark Tauscher says plays experienced growth and development as the game went on.
You could go through the list of these guys that are playing at Lambeau for the first time, and you could see the evolution kind of pick up from quarter 1 to quarter 4, and the production followed.
Up next for the Packers, a quick turnaround Thursday night football. Packers and Lions from Lambeau Field. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 180 points. S&P 500 down 11. NASDAQ Composite is off 29. It's time for the Annex Wealth Management Tax Smart Planning Review. They'll review, assess, and provide strategies you can use. Go to annexwealth.com/taxsmart. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 10:04.
This report's sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
If you gave your furnace one of those fancy DNA tests, what would it reveal? 62% old, 33% inefficient, and 5% noisy. Uncovering your heating and air's past can greatly impact your future comfort. Rejuvenate your senior system with the world's greatest tune-up from Mr. Holland's Home Services. Our talented techs alter your comfort system's DNA to slow the aging process and stretch the life of your heating and air. We know how to calibrate, combobulate, and reconfigure all the necessary parts to ensure that your furnace outlives its ancient ancestors. Increase the efficiency, safety, and reliability of your elderly AC and old-fashioned furnace. Upgrade your DNA. That, of course, stands for darn nice air with the world's greatest tune-up from Mr. Holland's Home Services. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. And if your comfort's lineage is in danger of extinction, we can help.
At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today. He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, he told us the other guys have been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
The Jordan Love era in Titletown is officially underway. Love rallied Green Bay from a 17-point fourth-quarter deficit, and the Packers beat the Saints by a final score of 18-17 on Sunday afternoon.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Love to Dobbs.
Love, who finished the game with 259 yards and 2 total touchdowns, led the largest comeback for the Pack since 2018 to help secure Green Bay's second win of the season. Packers will get right back to work this week. The Detroit Lions come in for a Thursday night clash in just a few days. The Milwaukee Brewers will have to keep the champagne on ice after they lose by a final score of 6-1 on Sunday afternoon to the Miami Marlins. The magic number to clinch the NL Central remains at 1. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No major delays to report right now, just a minor one. I-94 eastbound from the Zoo interchange into downtown, usually about a 6-minute drive. It's going to take you about 10 minutes. There's one lane closure and a ramp closure there due to construction. So that's about the only major delay you'll encounter this morning.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy, humid today, maybe showers, maybe thunderstorms, a high today of 72. Tonight, cloudy, muggy with a chance for rain again with a low 66. Cloudy, storms, showers likely tomorrow with a high of 70. Showers on Wednesday, or just a chance of showers, we should say. Partly cloudy Wednesday with a high of 70. Sunny Thursday, 70, and sunny on Friday, high 75 to 81. Right now, Madison 66, Green Bay 70, Milwaukee 69 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 10:08.
It's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Now, here's your hosts, Sandy Maxx and Steve Scaffidi.
Great to be with you on this Monday, Victory Monday, as they say, but we're moving on from the Packers because there's a lot of serious news as well. And Sandy Maxx alongside, as always. You're listening to WTMJ Now, news, opinion, why it matters in Wisconsin. That's the new way I say that, because I always said Wisconsin first, and I thought, why not do why it matters in Wisconsin? They get both things, both whys in there.
That's a good thought.
That's how my brain
covers
works.
all of it.
Yes, exactly. And the why it matters is where you come in, because I want to hear, Sandy wants to hear what you have to say. That's the point of the show, right? We'll bring you the stories. We'll engage you on these things, but you have to tell us what you're thinking. There's so many things that are popping in the news every day. Super busy news week last week, super busy news week the week before. And reminder, none of that's going to change because, oh, by the way, we have a presidential election next year, 24th. So that's not going to change.
And we know that your experience, each of our experiences are different. And what you bring to the table is special and different than what Steve or I do. So you've always got the old National Bank talk and text line open to you, 855-616-1620, a number to put in your phone.
That's your conduit to conversation. Just thought of that, too.
You're full of good stuff today. Why it matters in Wisconsin, your conduit to conversation. That's catchy.
Goodness. What's going on?
You got some sleep last night.
I slept so
after
well.
a Packers win.
I think that was the elixir I needed because I slept so. I mean, I went to bed at 9 o'clock and slept till like 4:30.
Well done.
Solid. All right. This is not a fun story. Now, there's a lot. I'm going to caution you because this story's been depicted in a lot of different ways so far. So pump the brakes. There's a lot of nuance to this story. Here's the headline, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, on the 22nd of September. So 3 days ago. Administrative screw-up leads to Milwaukee missing deadline for $15 million police grant. So at first glance, first mention, oh my goodness, what happened here? Why did we not apply for this? Let me read into the story a little bit. Right from the story, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, I want to give the writer, reporter Elliot Hughes, credit for this. 2 officials in Milwaukee County's Milwaukee City office of Mayor Cavalier Johnson said Friday it was not the city's decision to apply for a $15 million federal policing grant. Why does that matter? I have talked about policing, I know Jeff has as well, for years and years and years when it comes to the city of Milwaukee. Any big city has this issue. There are serious things happening with crime. Some of it can be overstated, some can't be. And if you look any further than reckless driving and or car theft, you pretty much know what I'm talking about. So there's where the nuance part comes in, because it's interesting. They said that they missed this deadline. There was a filing issue. It was done very late. Still a lot of explanation needs to come forward. Well, and full disclosure, we reached out to the mayor's office. He could not join us today. He will be on the show at 11:08 tomorrow. So if you still do it, tune your radio dials to 11:08 tomorrow, and we will have that conversation. So he was invited to this. Here's the interesting part to me, Sandy, and you may have a different take completely. This is the mayor's chief of staff, Nick DeCiota. Direct quote, "We would have not accepted it because we would not have had the capacity to train them." So I'm thinking about this quote last night. So if you wouldn't have accepted it, why in good faith would you have applied for it? That seems disjointed to me.
That's confusing to me, or is it possible to allot some of the grant funding to ensuring that you would have the capacity to train up to 50 new officers?
That's a good point, because circumstances can change. They're hanging their hat on this as a legislative reason we could not use these funds, and we'll get to that in a second. So that's a good point, fair point. And also, I've heard someone explain to me that the process of grant writing is something you should do every year, regardless if you accept the grant or use the funds or not. It's a good practice for municipalities, large and small, to get in the business of going after those funds, some public, some private, to enhance your budgets in cities large and small. So I get that argument. We go on to the story, back to the story. The mayor's chief of staff said a very seasoned, direct quote, civilian employee, not an elected employee, within the Milwaukee Police Department is the subject now of an internal investigation to determine what happened with the application. The police department's chief of staff declined comments. That's Heather, it's either Hugh or Ho, and she declined comments. They said, further explanation, the employee attempted to submit the grant electronically. Here's the part that I don't like. Within hours of the grant deadline. That's typically not how I do my work. I don't wait to the deadline and then, rush to do whatever I have to do. That's not how I would ever work in the public or private sector. Apparently, this person failed to complete the submission, missed the deadline due to a technical issue. We all know IT technical issues happen all the time. You have to at least think about those things. So, 855-616-1620. This is a grant that could be used for the hiring of officers. I'm going to give you a little background from my perspective on the hiring of officers using grants. So here it is real quick. I'm going to give you the 60-second condensed version. It sounds like a great idea. Oh, we can hire so-and-so many new officers.
This was supposed to be for 50 officers over 3 years.
In this case. In our case, I think in Oak Creek it was 3. That sounds great. But when the grant funds run out, you're on the hook as a city for the money to pay those officers and their benefits and all the infrastructure related to that. That money goes away. You now have a hole in your budget, and pick a number now because I've been away from that job for a little bit. You're talking anywhere from $150,000 or higher, all in on employee benefits, all of the other things, equipment, all that on one employee, and that money every year going forward is not funded by a grant.
Yeah, is now your responsibility. That grant kicked you off
Yes.
But then now that's going to be the city's expense.
So I'm not making
I understand
excuses.
that. Okay.
Yeah. But that's a budget hole that you have to remedy. And a lot of cities get in trouble because they don't think about those things. And they all should, because that's the reality of grants. I want to hear what you have to say. 855-616-1620. This is an interesting story from the perspective of cities doing everything they can on the internal aspect of crime, right? So we're going to hire officers. Sounds like a great idea. Sounds like they don't even have the capacity to train these officers if they would have hired them. So that's a logistical challenge as well. Lots of moving pieces here, Sandy, and yet we're going to have to figure this stuff out because this is important.
And one of the curious parts to me in doing research, I did see that last fall, Tammy Baldwin had announced, this is going to happen. This specific grant from the Department of Justice is going to be awarded to the city of Milwaukee. I don't understand now why, after getting awarded this grant the past 2 years from the Department of Justice, if they'd received it this year, why wouldn't we be equipped to train?
It has to do with a legislative change, which we'll get to after the break.
So
that's
I'm glad I'm asking the question.
Yeah, that's the other. None of this is easy.
Yeah.
And there's been some changes, as we all know, in the state legislature and what they have decided to do with shared revenue. It ties to that bill that we just saw pass recently. That's part of this as well. I'll get to the details on that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sandy, Max, Steve, WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Vince Vitrano here from Wisconsin's Morning News, reminding you to subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News podcast. We update it every day with every segment, every interview, and every bit we do on the show. Wait, we don't do bits on the show.
If my intelligence is artificial, then why am I smarter than you?
Absolutely boat racing.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
All right, maybe we do some bits.
F you.
Subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News podcast wherever you get your podcasts or listen live on WTMJ.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. For Advent, I have told you over and over again, they fixed my sleeping problem. They can do the same thing for you. I had snoring issues. My poor wife, Kathy, had to deal with all that. Sometimes you even got a grouchy Steve in the morning on the radio. Nobody wants that, trust me. I decided to do something about it. I went to Advent, one of their great facilities, talked to 2 docs on my first visits, 30 minutes, in and out, put me at ease, and they figured out after a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed, which is important, they determined the root cause of my problem is sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, I am back to breathing as well as I could ever, really, and I'm back to sleeping through the whole night. Last night, again, solid 7.5 hours of sleep. That makes you rested and ready for your day. That can be your story as well. To find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Upgrade and transform your current bathroom space with Sidex Window Siding and Bath. The best in the business is Sidex. Free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ or John Mercure. They're doing our project. Old tub shower is out. New, beautiful, state-of-the-art walk-in shower is going in as we speak. Seasoned design consultants with 30 years of experience, family-owned since 1988. As a matter of fact, Joe is honoring his dad's legacy with top-tier products and expert craftsmen. It's Sidex, the best in the business. It's Sidex.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
It's WTMJ Now.
An issue with the grant application missed the deadline, costing, well, sort of, $15 million in funding for the hiring and training of police officers in the city of Milwaukee. Mayor's office, at least chief of staff, and we'll talk to the mayor directly on tomorrow's program at 11:08 on this issue. That'll be our lead topic tomorrow, among some other things. Has said, well, even if we would have got the grant, we probably wouldn't have been able to utilize it. So a lot of people asking, well, so what's the story here? Well, if you remember, we passed some new legislation, we being the legislature in Wisconsin, written by Republicans, signed into effect by Tony Evers, so that's both sides of the political aisle, has limited communities like Milwaukee, this new legislation, on the number of police officers, the hiring of police officers, but more importantly, the maintenance of that number, that set number. The law requires, the new law, that within 10 years, City of Milwaukee, the city must employ at least 1,725 officers. Right now, we're at 1,630. Now, last Tuesday, Mayor Johnson released his budget for next year, nearly $2 billion, which included taxpayer funding already. That's already spent money if they go forward with that plan, which probably will happen. 3 police recruit classes, each with 65 officers. If we would have got this grant, we have no capacity to train those additional 50 officers. Those 3 classes, 65 each, is as many as we can train. They could have never trained the new 50. That's the interesting angle, twist, related to the legislation passed and signed this year. It's the maddening part of politics. Because you and I, Sandy, we probably would look at this problem and say, how can more police be a bad thing? Most people would look at it that way. I do. We want officers on the street doing all kinds of things that make communities safer, whether it's reckless driving or just walking the beat, whatever it is. More security enhanced in some neighborhoods that have had some really serious challenges. But it's not that easy. That's where the nuance comes in. And I'm curious what you guys think about that. 855-616-1620 is the old National Bank talk and text line. Peter adds, another relevant nuance is that at least once time in the past years that we received the grant, the Milwaukee Common Council almost decided to not apply in the spirit of tactically defunding the police in the post-George Floyd days. Yeah, that's the politicization of these processes, right? Because that's part of it, too. You need votes, and you have to have a Common Council that's willing to do this. And we know post-George Floyd, the movement in some people's minds was to retract or lessen the number of police. I don't agree with that philosophy.
Or put the investment into something other than police officers to de-escalate, whether social workers or different angles. And a grant like this doesn't seem to apply to...
No. That's the
I will call
part.
them alternate staff.
Yeah, and this one's really related to hiring and training of officers. So we're going to hear what the mayor has to say on this tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see, because I'm going to come back to my initial question. If you knew you couldn't do it, you couldn't hire and train these officers, then why is it an issue that you missed the deadline? Because you probably, I gave you a couple reasons why you could still apply. It seems rather superficial, the response from the mayor's chief of staff on this, in my opinion.
Or is this an employee who has danced on the edge of deadlines multiple times, and this is a chance to reprimand or remove them? Because that seemed to be I mean, that was the actual headline, not so much that we missed out on the $15 million grant, but, quote, administrative screw-up.
Yes. To me, it's a screw-up.
But I don't think they're calling that person a screw-up. I think they're calling the action of waiting too close to the deadline and not applying due to a technical issue being the screw-up. Yeah, and the other thing that you have to be careful with is that even civilian employees, there's a process to review their conduct, their work. There should be, if there's not, there should be an annual performance appraisal, right? I know a lot of workplaces have gotten a little soft with the language on some of this stuff, but that's what should happen. And I'm sure in this case, given the amount of money we're talking about, again, they can argue they weren't going to be able to spend it, but grants are grants, and you kind of know what you're doing in that process, use it or not. This from Steve in Cedarburg. Can they lay the officers off after 1 year? All right, so think about this from that's messy, right? You're hiring an officer, it's like a temporary officer, and you're gonna upset his life, and then you're gonna just basically say, okay, after 1 year you're gone. That's not reality. That's also not good for a department. That doesn't suggest that you have a consistent, well-oiled machine when it comes to policing, because you're constantly whacking people, to use my term, getting rid of people willy-nilly because of budget. That's not the way it should work. You want a sustained police force, well-trained, well-led, who are most interested in the public safety and the welfare of the people they serve. As they invested in the community.
Yes. There's a lot wrapped into public service nowadays, right? Because there's the public is now really weighing in on some of these things. Everybody has an opinion, right? Country complainers. On policing, that's never been more evident than today. Maybe a slight absence, George Floyd, but it's still on people's minds. How are we policing our communities? How are we establishing the presence of police in tough neighborhoods? How are we making things better for the people that live there? I know this because I've talked to hundreds of people on the phone. If you're in a tough neighborhood in the city of Milwaukee or elsewhere, and you're not getting served by the police department, you're going to be angry because that's the first person you call. Whatever your take is on policing in general, that you're not calling anybody else. you're calling the police for the most part. That's where you want to see that response. We've got a couple texts. We'll take a break. Got another break here. Steve and Sandy, WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Hi, it's Brian Noonan from WTMJ Nights. I've got some big news. Starting now, you can download WTMJ Nights wherever you get your podcasts. That's right, you can enjoy our nighttime fun anytime you want. Find WTMJ Nights on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Local news, national stories, random silliness. You get a bit of everything on WTMJ Nights. So join me, Brian Noonan, weeknights from 6 to 9 here on WTMJ, the WTMJ mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts. WTMJ Nights. Listen whenever and wherever you want.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. Brands from Carhartt to Milwaukee to Purina to Goodyear to Rapala to Levi's and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
Kessler's works with crazy genius diamond cutters around the globe.
But we keep our crazy genius jewelry designers right here at home, where we can keep them busy.
Monica, I heard we gave our design team a challenge.
Yes, we gathered all 14 of them together and made their eyes sparkle with joy. What did you say? I said we wanted each of them to design a pendant that looks and feels like springtime. Springtime! New life!
14 designers? 14 pendants?
Yes, and we manufactured exactly 8 copies of each of these 14 designer pendants.
There are only 112 of these limited edition pendants in the whole world?
Yep, and they will sell for only $299.
Wow.
One last thing. We're donating all the profits to the charity of the designer's choice.
Being employee-owned gives us the freedom to do fun things.
And then we share those things with you, the people we love.
See the crazy genius designer pendants at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure businesses and families throughout Wisconsin. With custom coverage and superior customer service, Ansay & Associates can provide all of your insurance needs. Visit ansay.com today and get a free consultation with one of our strategists. Or come see us in person at any of our local offices. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
Hi, I'm John McGivern. If you're looking for a Medicare plan with freedom and flexibility, choose a Network Health Medicare Advantage plan. Plans start as low as $0 a month with $0 doctor visits and $0 prescription drugs, plus vision, hearing, and dental benefits. For 40 years, Network Health has been a trusted expert in making health insurance affordable and understandable. Don't wait. Call 833-7-NETWORK today.
WTMJ Now.
Sandy and Steve on this Monday edition. Now we're talking about this botched grant application process. Missed the deadline. Technical issues is what the city's telling us. $15 million. Hiring of police officers. Again, I'm going to ask you to just hold your opinion until we talk to the mayor tomorrow, because I want to hear his take on it. And again, I've raised a couple points here. One, grants are different than just finding the money in your annual budget. Grants go away. It could be 1 year, it could be 3 years. In this case, you hire those 50 officers. That's a lot of money that you have in your budget every year that you have to find a way for. Candy joins us from the city of Muskego. Hi, Candy.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good, good. What do you think?
Well, I worked at the Milwaukee Police Union for 35 years. And when I started, our members were 1,798. So that did not include supervisors.
Right.
So there were even more than that back then.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we go down every year. And I know that you said, like, after 3 years, the city would have to, fund those. Yes, they would.
Right.
But we will have more than 50 people that retire, because when a class that has 25 years on comes up with their 25 years now, more than half of them retire that day.
Yeah, also you can factor in the classes of 65 each class. Not all those kids are going to, not kids, not all those adults are going to pass the class. So there's also space. So that's a great point. That's a fair point. Absolutely.
Yes. And I know that I have been there when I'm retired now, just retired, but this year. But we did have at least 1 year that they did do 4 classes. So I believe that they could do 4 classes, 3 of 65 in a class of 50.
Yeah, the bottom line for me is if the legislature, which they have, has required now that in 10 years that the number gets back to almost what you were talking about, I think you said 1798. The requirement, current law, is that in 10 years it be 1725. Right now, as I said, it's 1630. And it may have at moments been lower than that. I agree with you completely. Somebody dropped the ball here. And whatever terminology you want to use, technical issues, snafu, we couldn't spend the funds because of new legislation, that seems like a political argument to me. Bottom line is, you ask a resident of Milwaukee, do they want more police officers? I think overwhelmingly people would say yes, Candy. And you worked for the department.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for the call, Candy, calling from Muskego. I think it's a no-brainer. And I'm really going to be interested in what the mayor tells us tomorrow because it's a big question. Here's the other thing, and I'll look at it politically. It doesn't look good for a mayor, his employees, his staff, in this case related to a very hot-button issue, which is community policing and the hiring of officers. It just doesn't look good. It looks messy. It looks like you're not fully engaged in the conversation when it comes to adequately staffing your police department, meeting the needs of the community. That's my take. And I'll ask him about that tomorrow when he joins us. It's a big deal. And perception, we know, matters, right? How people perceive things. Even when it's not real, perception can almost dominate the conversation if you feel so strongly about an issue like this. This is an important one. And to the mayor, who's now running for re-election, he announced last week, you don't think this is going to be brought up in any potential campaign ads running against him? I would argue it would be. It's on him. Does the buck stop at Mayor Cavalier Johnson's desk or not? And I'll be really curious on tomorrow's program, 11:08, when he joins us. We'll ask him this question right out of the gate because this is a big one. And there's a lot more to talk about, and we'll have that conversation tomorrow on the show.
Yeah, and here, I mean, he obviously knows things that none of us do. So from working on the inside, so hopefully he will share and enlighten us on this process and what the challenges are and what the solutions are.
Absolutely. All right, after the break, he's our Monday guy, also hosts the Money Talk on Saturday mornings. Dave Spano, president and CEO of N.O.W. Wealth Management. Looking forward to the conversation with Dave after this on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy high-end Beautyrest and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hasseless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These mattresses are the best, and you can get them for way less. Like the Sealy Posturepedic Glendale Falls Queen was on sale for $955, now just $362. Or the Beautyrest Windsor Isle King was on sale for $2,077, but the floor model is just $623. Plus, save big on a Beautyrest Advanced Motion Adjustable Base. Was $999, now just $377. It's like buying a Rolls Royce for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Selection is limited. Only a few floor models are available at each Hasseless location, and when they're gone for good. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hasseless.com.
It's WTMJ Now.
Oh, when you hear that music on a Monday, you know it's time for Dave Spano, President and CEO of N.O.W. Wealth Management. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, good to be back.
Yes, sir.
Been a while since I talked to you.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about the trip.
You and I will sit down and we'll have a beverage.
Glass of vino.
Yes. God, I drank so much wine on that trip. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Manja.
Yeah, all of that, too. Great thing about that, though, didn't gain any weight. All that walking.
Because you did so much walking, I suppose.
Yes, 8 miles a day on average. All right, so Dave Spano.
Yes, sir.
Lots of conversation about this potential government shutdown looming. What should investors / retirees / anybody interested in the performance of the markets be thinking about right now?
Well, right now, there's about a 75% chance that is going to happen. And, of course, people's eyebrows go up. And, just a little bit of mechanics that happens is the House could present a bill and then send it to the Senate. And, of course, the Senate could say no, or the Senate could come back with what's called a CR, continuing resolution, and send it back, and the House could reject it, and that means sometime on October 1st, they would shut down the government. So what does that mean? Everyone freaks out at that point. We've seen many of these in the past. Really, it is about how people feel about the economy and, of course, investor sentiment. That is really the biggest debate because there's so much going on besides just the government shutdown. But does it change the sentiment? Do people stop spending because of that? That's the real question.
All right, so while that's going on, everybody looking at the Fed, they've talked about potentially a rate increase before the end of the year. Do they hold steady? Do they have a rate increase? What do you see?
Well, I was surprised how hawkish they were from the meeting last week. We expected them to do nothing. That was pretty obvious. But then there's these things that are called the dot plots, which is these 19 governors of the Fed saying what they think they're going to do. We're starting to call these the dart plots instead because they're just throwing them against the wall. They have not been good indicators of what they're going to do. The Fed certainly doesn't want inflation to continue, but what we have said and what I've said to you for now almost 6 months is higher for longer. What that means is that rates are going to stay higher for longer. They're not going to turn around and start to lower those anytime soon as long as inflation still is going on. Even though it's getting better, we still see inflation. Since the last 24 months, prices are up nearly 20%, and energy, near $100 a barrel. That certainly causes everyone who fills up their tank, to gets their attention.
And Dave, I know that you keep your eyes on what is happening in the news. So we're just talking about the Fed. How about the Federal Bureau of Economic Analysis? It's Thursday. They're going to publish their numbers for the GDP. I assume you're keeping an eye on that. And what does that mean for the rest of us?
Yeah, so the GDP number, as long as it's positive, it means that we don't have a recession. The widely accepted definition of a recession is 2 back-to-back quarters of negative GDP contraction. That is not what is being forecast right now. In fact, it was 3% the last quarter, so that's a long ways away. Do things start to slow down? That's really the question. Still, there is less supply of labor than there is demand, and that, of course, is frustrating the Fed because they thought that raising interest rates so significantly from 0 to 5.5% would slow that down, but there still is more opportunities than there are workers, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future.
This one comes right from the text line. We're talking to Dave Spano, Annex Wealth Management on WTMJ Now. Do you anticipate a short-term slowing of the economy because of those with student debt resuming payments, thus suddenly having less disposable income than in recent years?
Yes. I mean, there's no question.
That just makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And so, there's going to be a slowing, and, people who had that money are going to have to spend it in a different way or, of course, pay down some of this debt. So there will be a slowing. So a combination of that's an excellent question, along with all of these rate raises intended to slow the economy, and they have a lagging effect. The interesting part, it's going to happen right into an election, Steve, and that's really going to be what people are going to have to pay attention to. You see right now what's happening with the strikes. We had one, of course, one resolved with the filmmakers, but of course the UAW is burying their heels in. So we'll see if that has a long-lasting effect as well. So yes, we're starting to see the signs of a slowing. Does it turn into negative GDP in the first quarter is really the question.
Dave Spano joining us. This one, I was thinking about this, and I've asked you a variation on the theme of this question before, but 2024 politically is off the charts crazy, and we haven't gotten there yet. What could happen? Does chaos in the political climate, political environment always correlate necessarily to a chaotic economy, or sometimes is there a buffer or a filter?
There is a filter, and just think about what's happening. We're talking about a government shutdown next week. We've got, of course, both presidential candidates going and visiting these striking unions. You've got, of course, the Republicans are beginning the impeachment of the president. I mean, they're looking at this. They're talking about Hunter Biden, and of course, they're going to have a bipartisan a bill to bring the government shutdown to a resolution. So there's so much of that, and it goes back to this question that you're asking: sentiment. How do people feel about their jobs? How do people feel about the economy? Because that drives it. 2/3 of GDP comes from consumer spending. So if you think you're going to lose your job, or you see your neighbor lose their job, and you go, well, we're going to have to not spend as much, we're going to have to change our spending patterns, that is how recessions happen.
One more for you before I let you go. Dave Spano, any suggestions for investors/retirees to be thinking about as we head to the final quarter of 2023?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. There's earnings that are coming up, and as we begin the fourth quarter, earnings are expected to be fair to better. And so that is not only going to get in this fourth quarter, but the first and second quarter. You talk about earnings comparisons. Where we were from a year ago, those comparisons are going to get easier, and that means the stock market is going to look more appealing as we go into the beginning of the year. So, I wouldn't run for the hills, but it really matters what sectors, and I always talk about know what you own and why you own it. Some sectors have done really, really well. For example, technology, energy, and some have not. Utilities, for example. So, how your portfolio is comprised is really important. And moving just a little bit, turning that steering wheel just a little bit left and right, will allow some of these sectors to really perform better in your portfolio. And that's why know what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it. Lastly, if I can, just do a quick talk about these upcoming events. We've got a number of them coming up. We call Navigating the Markets, and of course those are coming up one Tuesday, and then we have two next week, October 3rd and October 5th, one in Madison, one in Brookfield. So they're coming up. If you're interested, you can go to annexwealth.com and sign up.
Yeah, absolutely. I participate in some of these things. If you want a nice interactive, welcoming way to kind of view some of these big decision moments in your life and think about the future when it comes to finance and where the country's going, these are those moments, and they offer these things occasionally, and these are really worth the time that you spend with Annex Wealth Management. We got a great team there, and of course Danny Clayton, which I always tell you he's the best in the business. I'm just giving him love because I know he's around there.
But he's standing next to me, but of course our presentations, So I'm going to be there, and Dr. Brian Jacobson, our chief economist, are going to make that presentation. So if you want to come and ask some questions, feel free to sign up.
Absolutely. Dave Spano, always enjoy the conversation. Host of Money Talk on Saturday mornings on WTMJ, and of course every Monday, 10:35, right here on WTMJ Now. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen Sandy, we got a lot more to do. An hour 15 left of the show. Got a fun thing in the 11 o'clock hour. So I don't always do this on my listener trips, but I put together a nice little feature because some of the voices are amazing in Italy and some of the experiences. And you'll hear from some of our listeners. And Rose Gray is actually one of our great partners at WTMJ. She's also heard on Saturday mornings, right? Fox World Travel. She's going to join us in studio. And one of our listeners, a special guest listener, going to join us in the 11 o'clock hour. So fun coming in your Monday schedule. We're not going anywhere. We'll be back after this.
Sandy and Steve will be back after this.
Who makes insurance simple? That's easy. Delta Dental of Wisconsin. So if you ask, what company encourages you to use your benefits for regular preventive care? Or who provides quick service online or by phone? Which insurance offers access to the largest provider networks? Or who helps you save money when you need more than a checkup? The answer's the same. Definitely Delta Dental. For dental and vision insurance made simple, choose Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision today.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from Accunet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever home. And by 4 o'clock, we were all on a conference call with their real estate agent talking about what it would take to write a winning offer in today's inventory-starved market. And then it happened. They met their dream home face-to-face Saturday afternoon and wrote an offer $15,000 over asking, accompanied by an Accunet property-specific pre-approval letter that guaranteed they could make good on that offer without selling their existing home first and without requiring an appraisal. That's right, no appraisal required, which both the listing agent and seller loved. I can't promise your very first offer will be accepted like Russ and Julie's, but I will promise Accunet can help you and your agent craft the most attractive offer possible. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Sometimes when you call a contractor, you have to wait months for an appointment.
At Johnson & Sons Paving, we never make people wait.
If you need to schedule an asphalt project, concrete project, seal coating, or striping, Johnson & Sons will take you from planning stage to execution.
We even have civil engineers that are on staff for your professional site evaluation. We do it all on your schedule.
With the highest quality service.
Give us a call, 262-251-5585.
Or online at johnsonsonspaving.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave. Don't treat yourself like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
WTMJ Now.
Thanks for tuning in on this Monday. We love the fact that you find the time to find the show, and there's so many different ways to listen now or watch. You can go to YouTube and just put in WTMJ Now, and this show pops up. Sandy Maxx, Steve Scaffidi will wave to the cameras. Thanks for spending the day with us that way. Of course, the traditional way, over-the-air broadcast radio, that's cool. 620 WTMJ and WTMJ.com. Listen live. There's so many different ways, but we appreciate the fact that you take the time. And we are always, always excited that you are going to spend some more moments with us. And as I said, we got a great rest of the show. A little observation from the Packers game, having been to Lambeau Field yesterday. Lambeau Field continues to get it right. Their presentation outside the stadium, inside the stadium, they handed out little rally flags with the actual kickoff thing, which if you're a collector like me, that's kind of a cool thing.
I say, did you save it?
I saved it, yes. I have two of them because Kathy got one too. The food was amazing. And I don't always say that about stadium food, but the food was really, really good at Lambeau yesterday, so well done. I know they have an outside company that comes in, and it's changed, so I don't want to say one name if it's wrong, but food was amazing. The beer was cold. I had a beer there as well, which is typically my limit at games because I have to drive back. One beer. I had a heck of a fun time broadcasting from 9 to 10 with our partners at ESPN 94.5 and right here on 620 WTMJ, talking football. Saw Gary Ellerson, former Packers player, came up and said hi. The fans were amazing. The Tundra Trio location just adjacent to the Packers parking lot, fantastic. I met a bunch of listeners because I walked around to a couple tailgate parties that listeners texted in last week. They were amazing. I forgot the gentleman's first name, but I'm going to tweet out a picture in a little bit about, we took a picture together. He had sweet corn at his tailgate.
Grilling it up?
Yeah. Well
nice.
Done. That's
good harvest.
That's not your everyday thing at a tailgate party. I had sausage. I had, what else did I have? Great dips. I mean, it was amazing. And thanks to all of you for inviting me. I could not do like 8 tailgate parties because I would be 300 pounds. But I enjoyed the invitation. I tried to get around as much as I could. Said hi to a lot of folks. So
I had a pepperoni pizza all to myself.
That doesn't sound bad.
And a pitcher of beer. At the Newport in Bayview, they had a pizza and a pitcher special for just $20.
What's Sandy drinking beer-wise now?
River West Stein.
Oh, that's
from
not
Lakefront
a bad
Brewery.
So you went good choice.
You
there.
know it. You know it. And a great time. And I went there. It's my old neighborhood. And
that's a great neighborhood, by
it
the way.
is. Bayview, that part of Bayview is great. And Chris Tischler is an artist and musician in town, and he was filling in as the DJ for the game. If you ever saw Five Card Studs and saw Caesar Palace, he is Caesar.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So great entertainer and really fun, because as soon as I walked in, I heard a love song and I didn't put it together. I was like, hey, how you doing? He just got married, gave him a big hug, and he's like, I'm playing all love songs. I was like, oh my gosh. Great theme. He played some fired up. He played non-love songs during the commercial breaks, but really got the whole bar fired up, and it was a really good time. But I had a really good time because I pulled out my phone. I said, we made a Jordan Love playlist for WTMJ.com. So I pulled up my Spotify and I compared it, and he was excited to see that we had some similarities and added some. So if you want to enjoy musically the Jordan Love playlist, you can text the word love, L-O-V-E, to the Old National Bank talking text line 855-616-1620. And DJ Chris just made it even more fun at the bar, keeping our energy into it the first 3.5 quarters and then just really amping it up for the big win at the end.
I probably know the answer to this question, but what was the Led Zeppelin song you added?
Whole Lot of Love.
Oh, of course. Yes.
How did I leave that off in the first place?
That?
We keep adding songs to this love playlist. So Old National Bank talking text line 855-616-1620, newly enhanced with Led Zeppelin and also Taylor Swift.
And I'm sure she's written a lot about love. Did you see her? She showed up at the ballpark in Kansas City over the weekend.
She did.
One of the Kelsey brothers.
Giggling with the mom.
Do you think, I know you like pop culture, I do too. Do you think was that for the cameras, or is that a real relationship, do you think? Or the start of a real relationship, I should say.
I don't know. I think it's fun because she was, I don't know. I just think it's fun. He made it very obvious that he's interested in her. And if you can, I mean, how do people date when you're at that superstar level? She's not going to meet somebody at the Newport like I do. She's running in different circles. Maybe the concierge at the 5-star hotel she's at. How do you meet people when you are at that level other than through mutual friends? So, hey, if he's not already a friend of hers, that was his shot to publicly say, hey, Taylor, I'm interested in you. I'll get you free tickets to the game.
Maybe well played, Mr. Kelsey.
Could be. And she hung out with his mom, and she was seen on camera giggling with her. So, you fast track that. She's going to meet the family, hang out in the suite.
So he did it backwards. He met the mom and then, or she met the mom. Yeah. That's not.
So I don't, even if it isn't, it's fun. It's fun for us to talk about,
Here's my
and if it doesn't work out, she writes a song about him, and she makes even more money. It's a beautiful thing.
So on the back end of that, if you're the next boyfriend that gets, thrown to the curb.
I don't know that she's dated a football player, so that's a whole new area of her to come up with the puns about, punting and kicking and sidelines, and there's a whole new area for her to poetically explore if she gets done wrong by a football player.
Dating problems of the rich and famous. So we shall see whether a Kelsey Swift romance is in the cards, or in this case, the Chiefs. All right, so we'll continue the conversation in this hour. We got a great 11 o'clock hour. Don't miss that. And we're going to have a really cool conversation. It's more of a serious one, but there's a lot of conversation lately about strikes. We have the UAW strike. We have the writers' strike. We have the actors being sympathetic to that cause. I got a basic question I'm going to ask you in the 11 o'clock hour about that, because I think I know the answer, but I'm really curious what you say about it, especially in a very union-strong city like Milwaukee. And it used to be much more so than it is now, but it's still got that pulse of the union and the workers' rights kind of emblem stamped on it from a perspective of a long-time industrial manufacturing base in the Midwest. We'll get to that and some fun on travel. We're just getting warmed up, even though we're almost 2 hours in. Sandy, Maxx, Steve Scaffidi. It is, of course, WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Hey, Wisconsin, winter is right around the corner. Get your house ready before the cold hits. WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here for Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase, brought to you by senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz, Hair Construction, Current Electric, Outdoor Living Unlimited, and Kohler Services. Join us every week to discuss ways to weatherproof your home here on News Radio 620 WTMJ. If you can't catch us live, visit Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase under Features on WTMJ.com.
This Brewers Top Moment is presented by Network Health.
May 13th, 2023, the year of the freshman continued on for the Brewers, with Milwaukee and Kansas City knotted at 4 apiece in the bottom of the ninth. This time, it was Joey Weimer's turn to come through in the clutch.
Hit in the air to center. This is going to do it. Ryan Anderson scores, and Joey
This Brewers Top Moment is presented by Network Health.
Hi, I'm John McGivern. If you're looking for a Medicare plan with freedom and flexibility, choose a Network Health Medicare Advantage plan. Plans start as low as $0 a month with $0 doctor visits and $0 prescription drugs, plus vision, hearing, and dental benefits. For 40 years, Network Health has been a trusted expert in making health insurance affordable and understandable. Don't wait. Call 833-7-NETWORK today.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. WTMJ Now.
All right, thanks for tuning in this Monday morning, Victory Monday. Now, we got to give some love, Sandy Maxx, to our Milwaukee Brewers. I'm wearing my Brewers shirt today. You can see it loudly and proudly. Brewers have a 6-game lead, I think 6 games left. So, barring some horrific end-of-season tragedy, this is going to be the team that wins the NL Central. That we already know they're going to the playoffs.
And they are one win away from the National League Central Division Championship, and it could happen right here, maybe tomorrow night against the Cardinals.
Yes.
That's a team you want to beat.
And
even though they're the lowest on the totem pole, there's a lot of history there.
Last place, Cardinals are 20 games out.
Works
that doesn't
for me.
happen to the Cardinals.
Never. They almost always come on strong and end like a 688 record.
Yeah. So
it's unusual to see them dive, but nobody who's a true Brewers fan is sorry to see that.
And the real fun starts when the playoffs start, and we will be part of that because we are the flagship station of the Milwaukee Brewers. So I cannot wait to hear some of the fun things we're going to do with all of that.
Days away from Brew October on WTMJ. It's presented by Network Health, Delta Dental, Annex Wealth Management, and Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank.
All right, here's my question for the 11 o'clock hour. So we're going to talk about it. It's not the most sexiest topic in the world, but I want to know what Milwaukeeans, specifically Wisconsinites, and any of you are listening, think about this. So we've had UAW strikes. We have the writer's strike. I got a strong take on the writer's strike, but we'll save that for the post-news portion of the show. Are unions still relevant? Does anybody care about these strikes anymore? I think in some ways, nobody does. My take. So we'll welcome your take, Sandy's take, and all of us together will chew this around for a while. The future for UAW, the writers, the actors, and anybody who's striking, is there a sympathetic audience for this anymore? We're going to get to all of that and more after the news, which is next on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11 o'clock, we have 69 degrees, partly cloudy, humid today with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high this afternoon of 72. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. IndyCar will make its return to the Milwaukee Mile for the first time since 2015.
And it won't be just one race. 2 IndyCar races will loop the historic oval Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day weekend next year. IndyCar Series owner Roger Penske says the announcement reaffirms their commitment to honoring the historical significance of the mile.
We've invested heavily in the track at Indianapolis and also certainly in the series, and it's important that we take these series to places that are long-staying capabilities that you have here.
As for Governor Tony Evers,
I am jazzed about this,
calling it a big win for Southeast Wisconsin and the state. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Back in August, the track hosted its first NASCAR race in 14 years, which attracted some 17,000 people. Today is day 4 since the United Auto Workers strike expanded to include union workers in Milwaukee and Hudson, Wisconsin. About 100 employees at the Stellantis Auto Parts manufacturing plant in Bayview on the picket lines. Editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal, Mark Cass, tells Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News even a strike from a small plant will have an impact.
There are a lot of companies who actually help the auto companies with the parts they make and other things. So this will have a runoff effect on the economy and other companies. But here we are seeing our first really local impact of employees hit by this.
There is a tentative deal between union riders and Hollywood studios. It needs to be approved by the WGA board before the strike is officially over. ABC's Kana Whitworth is in Los Angeles with the latest.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass weighing in, saying now we must focus on getting the entertainment industry and all of the businesses that rely on it back on their feet. It was a weekend of marathon negotiations, so right now there is this tentative deal for a 3-year agreement. It still has to be approved by the Guild. While this whole thing isn't over just yet, the picketing is suspended immediately.
Meanwhile, thousands of healthcare workers say they're prepared to strike if they can't reach an agreement with Kaiser Permanente. Staffing shortages and a boost in pay, the main issues that need settling. Former President Trump promises to investigate the parent company of NBC and MSNBC if he's elected president in 2024. In a post on Truth Social, Trump says Comcast will be thoroughly scrutinized for what he called dishonest and corrupt news coverage. Post comes after Trump recently sat down for an interview with NBC's Meet the Press. Investigation continues after around a dozen shots were fired at the Milwaukee Lutheran Pius High School football game Friday night. Jawan Hill, as a student at Milwaukee Lutheran, described the moment shots rang out to TMJ4 News.
Something is telling me to slow down for a second, so I stop. And then you hear all these shots. I gotta get to safety fast. So yeah, that's all I could really think of was getting to safety. It didn't kick in at first that it was shots. I didn't think that's what was going on, so I was seeing everybody running and screaming.
The incident caused Milwaukee Lutheran to cancel its weekend homecoming events. The school will be virtual today, though that was already built into the school's schedule. With 5 key starters unavailable due to injury, the Packers, in Jordan Love's first career regular season start at Lambeau, pulled out an 18-17 win over the Saints and a fourth-quarter comeback. Packers face the Lions at Lambeau on Thursday night. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 8 points, S&P 500 is up 9, and the Nasdaq Composite is up 36. Navigating the Markets is back and scheduled for Mequon, Madison, Brookfield, and Appleton. Get set for what's next. Details at annexwealth.com/events. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
WTMJ Now is hitting the road, making a stop in downtown Waupun. Join Sandy Maxx and Steve Scaffidi broadcasting live at Real Sports Cards in Waupun on October 6th from 9 to noon. Real Sports Cards think through every aspect of a card collector's shop, building a modern store to fulfill any hobbyist's needs. Make plans to visit historic downtown Waupun, the city of sculpture, when Sandy and Steve broadcast live from Real Sports Cards, October 6th from 9 to noon. Meet Steve and Sandy and check out the shop, realsportscards.com.
Sharpen your investment and retirement strategy at the Annex Wealth Management Navigating the Markets presentation. What are the headwinds for portfolios in excess of $1 million? Will the long-awaited recession actually happen? And what can you do to calibrate your portfolio? Navigating the Markets takes place in Mequon September 26th and Brookfield October 5th. These premier events are open to everyone. Complete details and sign up at annexwealth.com/events. The American economy is at a critical juncture. What's next? Join us for Navigating the Markets from Annex Wealth Management.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik for Flanners Home Entertainment. How about improving watching the team and the games this season by pulling the trigger on an upgrade to your TV and audio system from Flanners Home Entertainment? In an age of impersonable big box stores and risky online purchases, there is still our locally owned Flanners, where quality, service, the best brands, and guaranteed best price remain top priorities. Shop Flanners in West Dallas, Grafton, and at Flanners.com. Flanners, sound advice at the best price. Just press play.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
The Jordan Love era in Titletown is officially underway. Love rallied Green Bay from a 17-point fourth-quarter deficit, and the Packers beat the Saints by a final score of 18-17 on Sunday afternoon.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Love to Dobbs.
Love, who finished the game with 259 yards and 2 total touchdowns, led the largest comeback for the Pack since 2018 to help secure Green Bay's second win of the season. Packers will get right back to work this week. The Detroit Lions come in for a Thursday night clash in just a few days. The Milwaukee Brewers will have to keep the champagne on ice after they lose by a final score of 6-1 on Sunday afternoon to the Miami Marlins. The magic number to clinch the NL Central remains at 1. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No delays to report this hour. Pretty typical drive times. 94 inbound from Highway 16 to the Zoo, about a 10-minute drive. The Zoo into downtown running about 5. 43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to the Market Interchange, about a 10-minute commute. And 94 northbound from Layton Avenue to downtown, about 6 minutes this morning.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox & Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
The successful Fox & Hounds and Mineshaft restaurants are hiring friendly, people-oriented servers. You'll make real cash, full or part-time, and always busy. Inquire today, start next week.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. We have a chance of showers and storms today, tonight, and tomorrow. Today's high 72, cloudy and muggy tonight with a low 66. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. Showers and storms likely a high of 70. A chance for rain on Wednesday, 70 is again. Then Thursday, sunshine, a high 70. Friday, sunshine with a high 75 lakeside, 81 inland. Right now, Madison 66, Green Bay 70, Milwaukee 69 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
It's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Now, here's your hosts, Sandy Maxx and Steve Scaffidi.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Sandy Maxx and Steve. Yes, on this Victory Monday, so we're kind of celebrating all of that. And of course, the Brewers on their way to the NL Central Crown. So that's the sports side of things. So whenever we do a Monday through Friday show, there's this weekend, Sandy, where there's this time period. We're trying to assemble our thoughts on what Monday's show, Tuesday's shows look like. And one of the stories that caught my eye over the weekend was the potential end of some of these strikes, right? We have UAW that's ongoing. It's now impacted some Wisconsin companies that work as part suppliers and the like for UAW companies. This story that I got from Yahoo News, hopes rise for an end to the Hollywood's writer's strike as talks extend. I was a union member when I worked for Century Foods, Retail Clerks Union. I don't remember the number anymore, but that was for a significant number of my teen years. And the thing I remember about it is we got double time on Sunday. That was a union benefit that I appreciated because I started at $1.25 an hour. You can imagine that. It was my hourly wage back then. So, and my wife has been a union teacher, representative teacher for many, many years. Isn't currently, as far as I know, I don't think she is, in her sort of fill-in, semi-retired status. So But I do know this. Milwaukee has always been a very strong union town, right? That identity. I worked on Labor Day. It's one of the reasons I love working on Labor Day is I used to work the events at the lakefront. Used to bartend, used to haul beer for those union folks when they were celebrating that one day of the year, Labor Day, when that was a big, big deal. We had industries.
So it's a big manufacturing town.
Yes, for many, many years. That's been the identity. But I've noticed in the time that I've done radio, which is now almost 7 years, that one, this is not a opinion, this is fact. Union membership has declined significantly. I didn't Google it during the break, but it's just around 10%, I believe. And I'll check it. I'll fact check it in a second. I'll fact check it myself in a bit. From highs that were in the 20s and 30s in Milwaukee many, many years ago. So my question is a simple one. Whether it's writers, and there may be some differences between that striking, that impact on your life, and like automobile manufacturers or parts makers and their strikes and their issues. But generally, my perception is, Sandy, that people have less concern. This is my opinion. I don't want to speak for you because you can weigh in on the Old National Bank talk and text on 855-616-1620 than they used to have. And we know that Act 10 had a impact on some public workers' relationship with unions. Many of them chose not to pay their dues anymore, and they quietly withdrew from unions, which also lowered the number of people that are actively involved in unions in Wisconsin. And that's Act 10. I don't want to have a debate about Act 10. I'm just interested in your perception. I see we already got a call, 855-616-1620. Got a lot of texts already as well. Your perception about this. Again, my opinion. I think people could care less about the writer's strike. I know that people disagree with me. I've heard them on the radio talking about it. But when you have so many choices with television now, so many Netflixes and the Hulus and Prime and all that stuff, you don't see the impact you used to. Because we were dependent on those broadcast networks. If they went on strike, we weren't getting anything at all when it comes to content. Well, there's plenty of content. You could literally spend the rest of your life, you'd never exhaust all the content that's available on streaming services. So that direct impact, I think, is missing from that current strike, which seems to be getting close to settlement. So an interesting debate we're having in this country. And you can go a couple different ways with this. Do unions still matter? I would argue they matter, especially when you're talking about workers' rights and protection of workers. Absolutely. But we've seen that decline. And what does that say about the relationship between employers and employees? I think there's a lot going on there from the Old National Bank talk and text line. United we bargain, divided we strike. I mean, that's a strong take. This one from the 920. Ever since Governor Walker, ruling the state workers union, could care less about unions. The state workers needed support, and private company union workers could have cared less. Mike says this. Don't care at all for the writer's strike. Doesn't mean anything to me. Let's see. You're asking a little too much. Who gets paid a 5-day work week for only working 4 days, and pensions are a thing of the past. That's why 401ks and other savings plans are the way to go these days. If you go way back in time, Industrial Revolution, there was a reason why unions were created, because employers mistreated employees, often the very young or the very old. That's why they were there. Earl wants to jump in. Looks like he's been a proud union member for 34 years. Welcome to the show, Earl, calling from the Northwest Side. You are welcome on the program.
Well, good morning. Yeah, absolutely. I spent 34 years in a union. I walked into a union at 18 years of age and left at 54 with a full pension that I'm living off of now. I was able to middle-class lifestyle without a college degree, send your kids to college, buy a home. The American dream was available. Milwaukee was the machine shop of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at where we are today and what has transpired is the loss of unions, the breaking of unions, the misleading of the American people that unions are for people who are shiftless and don't want to work. It's what has been thrown out there for far too long. And I've never understood how people can be anti-union if it's education, if the union is the education union, or if the union is police and fire. So people don't have compassion for union members unless they're police and fire. And I don't understand that. That's a double standard that should be unacceptable.
Let me ask you a question, Earl. Let me ask you a question here. So given that we've seen the trend for union participation membership decline over the years, do you see a scenario where that trend could go the opposite direction?
Well, that's clearly up to people and the politicians who helped destroy the unions. So it was politicians who destroyed the unions, and so it's going to take politicians to work hard to bring those unions back. And again, part of the big difference between the middle class, the loss of the middle class, was the loss of the unions.
I agree with you completely. Thanks for the call, Earl. That's a big point because that drove the middle class. I had so many friends that worked at AC Delco in Oak Creek, which is now the site of Drexel Town Square. They were making a good living. Many of them got pensions, and for some people at the end of that big development in business development in Oak Creek didn't go so well. It gave them a lifestyle that they could afford to have a nice home and a nice car and raise their kids. And that's the part that I think is missing. I don't want to connect the two because I think they're two separate conversations, sort of. The thing that's often brought up when we talk about unions is CEO pay, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that CEO pay makes sense to me. I am not making that case because in many ways it doesn't, including paying a CEO millions and millions of dollars when the company's essentially trash and going nowhere and they're losing money. You could argue that's an important job, but you're not doing your job. So I think they're two separate conversations, but I want to make sure that we give credit where credit is due here. Lots of hardworking folks in this place, Wisconsin, and others that have a great life, had a great life, and a great retirement because of what the unions provided for them. I'm not an enemy of unions by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just asking the question, is that era over in our country? And I'm not sure we have the answer. And a real quick story, because we got to get to break here, and I'd love to hear from you, 855-616-1620. Mike's on the line as well. We got a ton of texts on this. Real-life impact. Now, it's a first-world problem because I was on a vacation of sorts, listener trip. Our flight to Italy got canceled last minute because of a strike in France. And if anybody follows the news, France's unions are very, very strong. And whether it was a sympathetic support to the air traffic control strike or the air traffic controllers directly, my life got impacted by it and the lives of 40-plus travelers. So it impacted me personally. What do you think? 855-616-1620, the Old National Bank talking text line. Sandy, Steve, text line wide open. Phone line, Mike, you're up next from Illinois. Join us in the conversation. 855-616-1620, the Old National Bank talk and text line.
More of WTMJ now after this.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me as we count down to the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll talk to the biggest names across the political landscape.
Senior political reporter from TMJ4 News, Charles Benson.
You got a sense of, how Milwaukee was enthusiastic about this convention.
Full podcast available on WTMJ.com or text RNC to the Old National Bank Talk and Text line, 855-616-1620, and get a link sent directly to you. It's the countdown to the RNC podcast, only here on WTMJ.
Hey there, I'm Sandy Maxx. I've been sharing with you my enthusiasm about 3 Pillars in Lake Country. They have a beautiful wooded campus. Think about it this time of year with the colors just starting to change and the leaves and the trees. 300 acres of serenity and safety along the Bark River. A beautiful setting for your retirement, and 3 Pillars is expanding, taking reservations for new high-end active adult residences with amenities like a supper club, a spa to relax in, a pub, a dog park, a theater, a fitness center, all kinds of walking and biking trails, an art studio. This is the kind of place you could really enjoy your retirement. Heck, I want to live there if they've got a spa and a supper club. 4 residence styles to choose from, all those amenities. There's nothing else like it in Wisconsin. 2025 is when they open, and they're almost 50% reserved. You still have time to get in on their priority list. See for yourself online at 3pillars.org.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from Accunet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever home. And by 4 o'clock, we were all on a conference call with their real estate agent talking about what it would take to write a winning offer in today's inventory-starved market. And then it happened. They met their dream home face-to-face Saturday afternoon and wrote an offer $15,000 over asking, accompanied by an Accunet property-specific pre-approval letter that guaranteed they could make good on that that offer without selling their existing home first and without requiring an appraisal. That's right, no appraisal required, which both the listing agent and seller loved. I can't promise your very first offer will be accepted like Russ and Julie's, but I will promise Accunet can help you and your agent craft the most attractive offer possible. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Fleet Fest is kicking off this Friday for 3 days only at Fleet Farm. Find in-store only deals on top brands and fall favorites, like 10% off select hunting gear, power tools, and wild bird feed. And get 20% off select workwear and fishing gear. Plus, mark your calendars for free pumpkin painting this Saturday only from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Don't miss deals and fun for everyone in the family this weekend at Fleet Fest. We have what you need for your everyday life. Fleet Farm.
It's WTMJ Now.
I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me.
I can say this is the first time I had Joan Baez on the program, so there's that. I think she's a strong advocate for union members. And again, I'm not anti-union. I was in a union, retail clerks for many years, at least 8 or 9 years, and I understand the idea. I did look it up during the break. 11.3% of the current U.S. population workers in unions, so that's down significantly. I got a lot of text on this. Mike from Crystal Lake. Steve, I have to disagree with you. Unions are basically obsolete because of all the new laws enacted after unions were formed. Unions did a great job of getting the rights of workers' safety, wages, etc., but it just isn't necessary now. Not only serves to increase product and services costs and guarantee someone who maybe shouldn't be able to keep their job to keep their job. GM workers make on average $80,000 per year. Tesla workers, for example, making on an average of $35,000 per year. That simply says that union workers are making more money because they are unionized as opposed to performance and their worth as employees. I don't think it's as black and white as that, actually. And I would argue that $35,000 it's not really a family-sustaining job with kids and all the related costs of that, child care. We're having a big debate in Wisconsin right now, Sandy, about child care and all the costs of that. So it's an interesting topic. There's no right answer. I think ultimately, Earl mentioned politicians. You know who decides this question? The workers. Whether it's a strike situation or workers saying, we've had enough. You want us to work for you? We're going to demand that we have a unionized shop. We see it with Starbucks. Those coffee shops, including the one by me in Oak Creek, I think on Howell Avenue, maybe the other one as well on Drexel, those are union shops now. I would have never thought that would have been a reality. That's the change that I'm seeing. That's why I brought this up today. It seems like, to my question to Earl, the trend may be that we're moving in the other direction. Maybe, maybe not. And ultimately, the workers decide that. Mike joins us from Illinois. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Good morning, Steve and Sandy. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. First of all, I don't think unions are obsolete. I think unions are driven by the treatment of workers, and I never want to see any workers mistreated. That being said, I do not believe the United Auto Workers or the writers are being mistreated. Auto workers make a lot of money, and it seems to me when the unions were the strongest with the UAW is when we had the worst quality of American cars. And there is competition, and I don't think until the Japanese started making big headways into the U.S. economy that American cars started to become better. As far as writers go, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them either. That is not a necessary thing. It's certainly a luxury. People enjoy it, but it's not necessary. I have more sympathy for, say, the air traffic controllers than I would UAW or writers. So I think it depends how the workers are being treated, and I think it depends on the industry whether I support the workers or the union or not.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, it's an interesting debate. I wouldn't just throw away writers like they don't matter, because I think, Sandy, you and I both know there's a lot of people who are vested in watching television and protecting the interests of those workers who, and I think one of the big issues was the future rights of people taking their images and their work and doing whatever the heck they wanted to with it for the rest of eternity. I said at the time, I don't think that's fair. So that's one case of many different cases where I actually support the rights of the unions. Now, it doesn't mean I agree with the strike. And, I could go on and on about Hollywood and the weird things they do there, but that seems like a fair question that a writer who's in a union would ask his employer. Do I have no rights? That you can just otherwise you basically sign it off for the rest of time. All of your work, your image, your words forever. That doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, it's called show business. It is an entertainment industry, and I wholeheartedly agree. That cost is much more disposable to me. I can choose not to spend money on streaming or cable or go back to the library and just read a bunch of old books. Whereas the UAW strike, I'm already experiencing that because I have to have some body work done. And that's not going to happen until October, and they're not going to order the parts until they know that my car is in the garage, and that's going to take another week. And then what if those parts aren't available? And how much is that going to cost? So that is having a much more direct impact on my life than the writer's strike. But you're still talking about an entire business of people who are trying to make a living.
Yeah, even in a very rich industry. I mean, let's be real. Hollywood makes a lot of money. The companies make a lot of money. It doesn't always, I hate to use this term, but trickle down to the low level folks. The grips on the shows, or somebody just running around a film lot or the scene that's being set up. That's low level stuff, but doesn't mean they abdicate all rights in the future to their work product. I'm going to read this one. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I want to make sure that all points of view are mentioned here. 770 area code. Union workers are greedy. My husband is one, and he sees it. About to strike for some ungodly amount of money they want, and they make great money. In the perfect world, which of course doesn't exist, workers would be protected. Workers would make a fair wage. And I'll take it one step further. CEOs would make a reasonable amount of money for doing what they do. And I don't generally begrudge people for their salaries. When I read some of these numbers, and more importantly, the ratio between low-level, entry-level employees and CEOs, it's like straight up, right? It's not even a graph anymore. It's just like the CEOs are at the top of the mountain and the workers are at the bottom. Again, don't want to begrudge people their salaries. Bottom line is, the workers have the power. And if you are someone who's going into the workforce or changing jobs, which is a very common thing now, this decision is a big one. How much power do you have? I would argue, given all the workforce challenges that companies are talking about all over the place, workers have a lot of power. That's why I see the reemergence of unions as a real possible trend in our country, because they have the power. They need you, not necessarily the opposite direction. So important times in Wisconsin's and in the country's work climate. This is a big deal. Now, that being said, I brought it up for a reason. You ask the general public, what I say, 11% of the population is in the union? That means 9 out of 10, roughly. I don't know if they're paying attention. I just don't. And that is a warning sign. That may be something that tamps down whatever union enthusiasm exists. We'll take another break. Sandy and Steve, WTMJ Now.
Sandy and Steve will be back after this. There's no better green and gold insider than from the man who wore the green and gold himself, Bart Tauscher.
The thing you hear all through training camp, if you're an undrafted free agent or a late pick, is, hey, you're trying out for our team, but you're also putting film up there for the other 31.
Bart Tauscher is our green and gold insider every Wednesday at 4:15 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
I like his moxie. You know what? We're going to keep him on the 53.
Presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Charge, it's October.
Get your Brewers postseason tickets now. Secure your spot and prepare to unleash chaos, make mayhem, and watch stars come to life in the spotlight of postseason baseball. The Brewers' moments you live for are coming. Make sure you don't miss a single pivotal pitch or season-changing home run. Get your Brewers postseason tickets now at brewers.com/postseason.
It's a big deal because your finances are a really big deal. Town Bank would like to announce our newest and greatest 11-month CD rate with a whopping 5.35% APY. Act now and you can lock in 5.35%. Just go to townbank.us/locknewrates and start earning more. Annual percentage yield accurate as of May 31st, 2023 and assumes funds remain on deposit until maturity. Minimum daily balance of 1 cent required to obtain APY. $1,000 minimum to open. New money only. Offer may change at any time and without notice. Member FDIC.
WTMJ Now.
What's your thoughts on unions? I was in one. I generally am not supportive of strikes. I can tell you that right out of the gate here. And we'll wrap this conversation because we've got a fun travel one coming up in a little bit. But joining us on the phone from Orlando, Florida, Lamar. Welcome, Lamar.
Steve, thank you for taking my call. Sandy, hello. First time actually calling him since you've been on the show.
Hi, Lamar.
Love you guys.
Good to talk with you. What's your perspective on unions and the role in 2023?
So, full disclosure, I am a former union member, former union lobbyist, and I'm actually about to join another union. I am very pro-union, and let me be honest, I understand the negatives about unions, but this idea that unions are greedy, especially against, you can make the argument that they're not necessary for small businesses, but these large corporations, let's be honest. First of all, large corps always make the argument that, well, if you tax us less, then we can give more money to our employees. And that's just not happening, especially some of the companies that we're talking about. GM, let's be serious, I'm not going to even start with Hollywood. It's just not trickling down. I mean, these companies are making record profits. And it's just not trickling down to the employees. All the employees are saying, well, look, if you're going to be giving the CEOs this kind of money, can we get our cut too? Because the reality is they take those tax breaks, they do stock buybacks, and it goes to their investors. It doesn't go to the workers that actually make the companies go. So, again, I know the negatives about unions, but I'm pro-union for that very fact that I always err on the side of the workers.
Yeah, I made this point.
That's a fact.
Great point, Lamar. And I made this point the other day. I think that there has been a strong pushback against CEO pay. That's part of it. And it's like a whole other conversation. But do you agree?
I don't see how it's another conversation. You keep saying that. And I agree with Lamar. It's not another conversation. It is where the company is choosing to put its funds instead of distributing that to pay workers more. What are the cases that it's not?
Well, some CEOs deserve to make as much money as they. Yeah.
Some.
It's also negotiated by individual. These are unions are negotiated in group. I'm not anti-union.
But Steve.
Yes, go ahead.
But the average CEO pay is like 1,000
Yes,
times
I acknowledge that.
Worker,
I acknowledge that.
Janitor.
Yes,
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
We shouldn't accept that. And then when unions.
And how do you say it's not related? That just blows my mind.
I'm saying it's not related in some cases. In some cases it is, because no CEO should make an astronomical salary when their company's going down the drain.
And then you just said the exact same thing that Lamar and I are saying.
Yes, and on this point, yes, that's why I'm agreeing with Lamar. I think, Lamar, do you agree with me that the trend is that we may see an uptick in union membership?
Yeah, because people are just tired of being workers. They're being squeezed. Workers are being squeezed, and we're just. CEOs, even when CEOs do bad, Steve, they still get bailed out. Think about that. Think about that for a second. But when the economy goes bad, who takes it on the chin? Your average worker.
I think that's where the power comes
crazy.
from.
And then when they ask for a little bit, of money, it's like you're greedy. Really? Is that what we're telling average workers?
That's why I'm not anti-union. Trust me, I'm reading the text line. There's a lot of people that are anti-union. I'm not that person. I was in a union. I understand the power and the significance of the membership. All I'm arguing is you have to look at this stuff from a larger perspective. Not every CEO is overpaid. Some are. And certainly ones that are making just obscene salaries when their companies are going down the drain makes zero sense. And the consumer, us, has to start paying attention to it. Is it related in some cases? Absolutely. I'm not saying it isn't.
On the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620-262, texted in an interesting angle. CEO pays should be predicated on the company's success, and if unions were ever to become smart, they would probably keep their pay based on the company's success. That would create the win-win situation everyone wants. Interesting angle.
Yeah, there has to be I don't want to, I'll use the term. There has to be a come to Jesus here because it's clearly out of line. And when you see these salaries, look, again, I want people to make as much money as they can. But when you're unsuccessful and you're still being treated in that manner, you're basically saying to your customers, if you own a business, I don't care about you. I only care about my shareholders. And that way of thinking, I think, is misguided and wrong. And that has been the trend. We need to see that trend come back. That's where some of this stuff is really, really important. We got a break here. After the break, some fun stuff. Travel. I just went through a great listener trip. We had a blast. We're going to bring some of that to you and talk to Rose Gray and one of our great listeners who joined us on the trip. Had a lot of fun with Dennis. He'll join us after the break right here on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ now after this.
The workplace has changed a lot thanks to technology, and more recently, the shift to a flexible or remote schedule. Your business must adapt to maintain a great culture, attracting quality candidates and keeping them. You need Smart Spaces. The team of interior integrators at Smart Spaces brings creativity and expertise, assessing the walls, ceiling, lighting, flooring, furniture, and audiovisual systems to create places that matter in the modern world, fully functional for those in the building and for others to interact remotely. Get started today at smartspaceswi.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. A couple years ago, my knee was acting up. As an athlete, I've played through pain before, but it was getting to the point where I couldn't compete in the sports I loved. I decided to check out Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. It's the best decision I've made. I felt no pressure to have surgery. That was important to me. We had choices. I ultimately did choose to have a procedure. I was in and out in just hours and back in action shortly after. I recommend meeting their doctors. Visit orthowisconsin.com today.
Looking to do something new with your savings? Get old with a money market account from Old National Bank and earn a 5.15% annual percentage yield. Whatever you're saving for, Old National is here to put your money to work today. Earn 5.15% APY with our 9-month introductory money market offer valid through September 30th, 2023. To earn the promotional rate, account must be funded with a minimum of $10,000 out on deposit at Old National as of July 31st, 2023 within 15 days of account opening. Learn more at oldnational.com or visit a local banking center today. Member FDIC. Old National Bank. Get old.
Thrifters can spot great deals from a mile away. And here the term great deal is an understatement. The lowest prices on men's, women's, and children's clothing, toys, furniture, housewares, jewelry, and accessories, bikes, books, games, and more. And every time you're here, you'll find something new. So if you're thrifty, you'll find this place is pretty nifty. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores, Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd in Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
All right, let's talk some fun, some travel. Now, when you say travel and you say WTMJ, there's one person's name that comes to mind. That is Rose Gray. Get your mic
Welcome,
on.
Rose. Turn your mic on, Rose.
And, because we couldn't just let you do it by yourself.
No.
We just went on a great listener trip, and you're going to be doing this again on Wednesday.
Yeah.
God bless you, Rose. You're always traveling. Dennis Kozel joins us, who was on the trip with us to Tuscany and other places, including Rome.
Thank you much. Good to be here.
Good morning, Dennis.
Thanks.
So let's talk about it. We had a great. I've been on a lot of trips. This is one of our best trips ever.
Yeah, and thanks to you got us all kind of bonded during the debacle at the beginning, should we call it? And as we were saying arrivederci to our guests this past Monday, everybody seemed to have forgotten about it.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Because I told the story on the show right after, but when I got back, but the quick 30-second version is our flight got canceled day of. And your team at Fox World Travel, I don't even know how this happens. They're like right into motion, rescheduling. We spent a kind of a fun introductory night in a Chicago hotel, and we all got to meet each other. Maybe that was the magic.
I think that was the magic. And a couple of drinks didn't hurt either.
But that is the experience of having a travel agent do all that scrambling so that way you can kick back and go, okay, they're going to take care of it. That takes just such a load off.
Thank you. It does. And I had a great team behind me.
Now, Dennis, you were on the trip. I mean, it started a little crazy. It all worked out, though.
What was your level of disappointment at the beginning of the trip?
Well, you got to tell the truth, though. Dennis and his wife flew separate from
they
the
flew
group.
separately, so they had a little bit of a
separately on Delta.
So they were waiting for us.
They were, yes.
But it was a great trip. I enjoyed the wine. Big fan of Italian wine here for the last few years, and having the Italian wine in Italy, and it is good.
You were telling me it's different.
Well, it's just Better in Italy, number one, of course.
The surroundings,
It's a surprise,
environment.
surprise. But then it's inexpensive. A lot of the restaurants, they make their own homemade wine kind of stuff. So it was really, really good.
So I wanted to kind of capture this. I've never done this before, but I did a lot of recording over there. We talked to everybody, almost everybody on the trip. I think we got everybody. And then I also got a little flavor from some of the places we went to see. Parma hams, the famous cheese.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yes, exactly. Couldn't think it off the top of my head. So I kind of put together a little piece. Let's play that.
This is Rose Gray from Fox World Travel. Welcome to Italy.
Oltre Sogno, it's our 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. Totally different process in this way because we have a maceration of 15 days and then 6 months in barrels and 6 months in stainless steel before bottling. And then we wait 4-5 months. It depends by the vintage. The vintage is to 2021.
Hi, Mary from Oak Creek.
Tom and Jackie from Grafton.
Rod and Jenny from Sheboygan.
Bill and Jan from Lake Tomahawk.
Hi, Michael and Karen from Caledonia.
Dean and Linda from Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Kevin and Lori from Hubertas.
Carl and Loretta from Two Rivers.
Mike and Marianne from Slinger.
Kathy and Mark from Hartford.
Kim from Key Wascom.
Deanna Alexander from Lansing, Michigan.
Donna from Waterford.
Jeff and Diana from Belgium.
Dave and Carolyn from Green Bay.
Go Packers.
Mike and Sue from Greendale. Beck and Bono Creek.
Steve and Gail from Cedarburg.
Sandy from Stevens Point.
Joanne from Wild Rose.
Dennis and Stacy's from Mequon.
Rose Gray.
John from Eastside Milwaukee.
Kathy from Oak Creek.
Buongiorno, Patty from Wisconsin Rapids.
Buongiorno, io sono Giacomo. My name is Giacomo Desideri. I am the owner of Famiglia Desideri here in Montecatini Terme, Tuscany, Italia. We make cookies. We are a very small family business in Montecatini Terme in Tuscany, and we started with my grandfather in 1911, producing cookies, traditional cookies from Tuscany.
I'm Pamela, or Pamela in Italian, and you are now here in an area called Monte Carlo, and Monte Carlo is famous for grapes and olives. So it means, of course, that the wine you're going to have, the olive oil you're going to have, it's made with our grapes and our olives. And you're going to have a lot of wine. So I hope you're in the right mood for the wine. Okay?
Yeah, always.
Bene, always. That's good.
The minimum aging of Parmigiano Reggiano is 12 months, so we cannot sell or cut the cheese before 1 year. We must waiting for a special mark that we have on the cheese. For example, like that, we have a dark mark. Look that.
Dave Wickert from Green Bay, enjoying another Fox World Travel trip to Italy. Mostly the Tuscany Valley, and really getting to see a lot of things that I wouldn't have seen on my own. Lots of good food, lots of good wine, and certainly good company and leadership.
Hi, this is Stacy from Mequon. Oh my gosh, my favorite thing, I think just overall, was the food, the wine, and we really loved our free day. We went to Cinque Terre, and just company, just great trip overall.
Bonnie Schoeneke. I have never been in a happier place. I had wine upon wine. The tastings were incredible, fresh, fruity, and food. I've never been on a vacation where it is wine and food, outstanding appetizers upon plates of food. You can't eat enough.
I bet you slept good last night.
I rolled into bed. I couldn't even roll over. It was incredible.
So good morning, my name's Federico Ravazzoni and I work for Salumificio Apparel as a tour guide basically.
Tell me why this area is so good for this ham.
Because we have a specific microclimate. So this microclimate is generated by the Marino, which is a typical Italian sea wind, which, well, starts, let's say, in La Spezia, an Italian city next to Genoa. So this Marino, this Italian wind, let's say, comes here thanks to the little river that we got, okay, which is called Torrente Parma. And when this, let's say, this wind arrives here, creates this perfect microclimate for the type of production that we do. In fact, inside the factories, where the, let's say, where the temperature is a little bit higher, is warmer, let's say, we open the windows and we let this microclimate come in.
So how much ham goes out the door every year?
Well, let's say, personally, let's say, talking about our factory, 40,000. But in general, talking about the whole consortium, 8-9 millions.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I'm from Stevens Point, and I have been enjoying every little part of this trip to Italy. I guess my favorite would be San Gimignano. Okay, San Gimignano.
San Gimignano.
San Gimignano.
Arrivederci. Oh, ringing it takes me back, Rose and Dennis. Oh, the sounds of Italy. And you're going to be doing this all again Wednesday. You're leaving.
I am. It's what happens when you sell out a Scaffidi trip in record time.
We could have sold that 100 times 2.
Exactly.
Everybody shouldn't everybody go to Italy at least once?
I could not agree more. And you know how I know Dennis and Stacy? They started out traveling with me to Egypt. So it's not like they're just getting their feet wet when it comes to international travel.
Dennis was always, we were always kind of around each other on the bus, and I was listening to his travels. This guy's been everywhere.
And yet he came to Tuscany with you.
Yes, which is very cool, because he's a loyal listener. He knows a lot about the show, and we had so much fun, and thanks for being there as well.
Well, and we'd be going to Munich with your next tour, but we're going to the Arctic Ocean kind of stuff. So, but
oh, he just one-ups me. Oh, by the way, we're going to the Arctic Ocean.
No, we'd like to do the beer stuff. I mean, if you can.
Well, there'll be other trips. We're working on some. Yeah, some more trips.
We're working on 25 already.
Yep. Dennis Kozel, Rose Gray, Fox Road Travel. Take a break. Lots more to talk about, including the upcoming trip with my guests and Sandy Maxx on WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
What's the way to build your wealth?
If you want to be sure that you're getting financial planning advice you can trust, work with a fiduciary. A fiduciary should be someone who acts as a steward for you. It means they treat your assets as if they were their own, that they protect them as if they were their own, and that they try to grow them as if they were their own. Now you can take this for what it's worth, but I'm doing all I can to run a firm you can trust. That's why we're a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm that doesn't work for anyone but our clients and focuses only on their best interest. By being a steward, being a fiduciary to help our clients reach their financial goals. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Be proactive so you're not freezing at home this winter. Your walls are drafty. Retrofoam of southeastern Wisconsin can fill your walls with foam insulation. It's all done from the exterior of your home without any hassle or mess. The entire process only takes a day, and Retrofoam of southeast Wisconsin offers a lifetime warranty and property protection guarantee. Retrofoam of southeastern Wisconsin takes pride in its customer service and efficiency. Get 20% off if you call by the end of September. Just search online. Retrofoam of southeast Wisconsin.
What's that sound?
That's the sweet sound of you, small business owner, not having to worry about cybersecurity.
Sounds nice.
U.S. Cellular is offering cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99 per line.
Does that include protection from phishing?
Of course, unless you mean like the kind. Get cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99. U.S. Cellular, built for business, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
For your new roof, we'll give you the hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty in the industry. You can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats. Now through Wednesday, save on 11 to 13.7 ounce or 12 count selected varieties Kellogg's Club Crackers or Pop-Tarts, 2 for $7. 2-liter bottles selected varieties Super Chill Soda, 4 for $5. 64 ounce bottles selected varieties Old Orchard Juice, 2 for $4. 6 count selected varieties Outshine Bars, $3.99.
Let's see. Spices. Cardamom. Hibiscus powder. It's like looking at Green Bay's roster right now. I don't recognize it, but I'll learn to love it.
Attention Century shoppers. You're going to love this opportunity. Win 2 tickets to see Green Bay play Kansas City on December 3rd. Autographed Packers footballs or 4 packs of Hall of Fame tickets.
I'd love to see Green Bay's new QB in action and win those tickets. What do I do?
Find the weekly code on Century's Facebook or Instagram and enter to win.
Love it. Getting the Century code on Insta right now.
Ends November 14th.
WTMJ Now.
All right, recapping our Italy trip, and we got another one coming. Rose Gray, Fox World Travel. You can hear every Saturday morning here on WTMJ. Dennis Kozel, who's on the trip, is on his way to the Arctic at some point in the near future. This guy's everywhere, along with his group.
But that says a lot that Dennis, as well traveled as you are, Mr. Cosmopolitan, that you chose to travel with Steve and Rose.
Part of it, it's nice working with Rose when you have someone like that, and if something does go wrong, she's there to take care of it. So you can kind of relax easier kind of stuff. Plus, actually, our group was pretty good. They got to the bus on time, and if we had free time, they would kind of get back kind of stuff. So, but yeah. So we're going with Rose to Vietnam in February.
Yeah.
Is it like your best customer?
Kind of. Thank you for asking him on the show, by the way.
So I want to ask Rose about the next trip that I take with Rose, but I want to ask you, other than the wine, which was absolutely incredible, and we all brought some back, what was the other part of the trip that you just loved?
The other part was Cinque Terre, where we did the day trip, but also just, we went to the small villages, walking around. The people are nice. You stop for a glass of wine. So it's just the people, the culture, walking around. Did a fair amount of walking, right?
Yeah, I think I averaged like 7.5 miles a day, which basically meant I could eat and drink what I wanted to, which I appreciate because I didn't gain weight. Did you gain weight on the trip?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. You look good.
Thanks.
Then you were doing it right.
Yes. All right, Rose Gray. So we're doing this again in July of 2024.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
So it's German grandeur and then 2 nights in Munich. And I actually did get a couple people saying, we're not real big beer drinkers. What do you think about that? And what I think about that is it should not be a problem. This is just an added enhancement. We happen to have a beer enthusiast who's traveling with us that will give those people who love beer an insight into the fabulous world of beer. But
why not talk to an expert?
If you don't like beer, I bet we could find some wine for you.
I would say Riesling comes to mind.
Well, let me use my own example. My wife doesn't drink. So she had a tremendous time. She told me it's one of the best trips we've ever taken. She doesn't drink wine or any alcohol. So she found a way to have fun. And the food, by the way, we're kind of short-circuiting the food. It was also amazing. We had boar a couple times with pasta.
What did you think about the wild boar rigatoni?
I loved it.
How's that compared to your dad's sauce?
Well, it's different. My dad uses pork, sort of similar, but I mean, just the taste of it. And I did this on my trivia contest with all of you. My favorite noodle is rigatoni. So when we went to the last night's dinner, kind of our farewell dinner, and they bring out, Sandy, a platter of rigatoni. It's about 1.5 feet long by foot wide.
Family style.
Oh my! I probably had 3 helpings.
Oh yeah, they bring it out and you think we're not going to finish this. And we finish it.
The other thing is that I took away. I had more like cold cut salami, prosciutto. I mean,
well, you heard Dave on the clip that you ran.
Yeah.
He said, Rose, can I just ask you a question? Do they always have skinny meat for lunch? He meant the shaved prosciutto and the shaved salami. He called it skinny meat.
Yeah, that part was a little bit surprising because I've been to Italy before, but this is the one thing I wanted to emphasize with you guys. It is so different in a group than as a husband and wife or a small group because we got to see things, including the Parma ham place, that you would never get to see on your own. That's the magic.
That is the magic. And so if you want more magic, you can find out about Steve's next trip on the website at foxworldtravel.com under the group travel tab because we still have cabins available. We're quite full, but we still have cabins available.
And it's a chance to hang out with me for 11 nights or something.
Who doesn't want to do that?
Man, we had so much fun. Dennis, you know this.
We had fun.
All the conversations on those bus rides.
At the back of the bus, right.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
John and Stacy. Everybody was. Is it always like that,
Right,
Rose?
and then we also did get a question on Saturday, Steve, like how political was the group? So answer
Not
that
really.
question.
I mean, I had
couple.
Yeah, a few people. We had those. I had side conversations, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I tried to make myself available whenever. So, full disclosure, there was nights where everybody else was in bed. I was still talking politics with somebody at the outside bar area until, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, which I was fine with. So we can do all of that. I'm not shying away from a conversation. We did a live on the bus, Ask Steve Anything. It was fantastic. Great questions as we were on our way to, was that Vinci or Parma maybe? Just a great way to spend time. Are they all the trips like this?
Yeah, and now they're not all like this because we don't always have a leader like you, but you're very dynamic and people wanted to spend time with you. And I don't want to reuse somebody else's logo, but I think the whole thing was fair and balanced. I don't think we got into anything that was heated or anybody got...
that never happened.
No, never happened.
And trust me, there was people of all political persuasions on this trip because I know some of them.
Yes.
And they were all over the board. But it's a great real-life representation when I talk about it. We talk about it on the show. All kinds of people disagreeing, yet having a splendid, wonderful time, in this case, traveling.
Exactly.
That's the magic.
And we love it when the people traveling, when we travel internationally, the people want to talk to us about our politics.
Sure.
And we want to share that. We love to share that. And some of us do, and then some of us said, well, you know what, I've got a bottle of wine waiting for me. I got to see you later. Bye. But yeah, I don't think it was political at all, to answer the question that I didn't get to on Saturday morning.
So are you ready for round 2? Because that starts on Wednesday.
I am. The travel gods cannot possibly be so cruel as to give me another canceled flight.
And let me just say this. This is our first trip together. You were a rock star, and you were kind of the guiding light to make this all this magic happen. You gave great advice to me, what I needed to do. So, and I'm not surprised by it because I've known you for a while. This was a trip that I looked forward to. I look forward to the next one. But you guys at Fox World Travel knocked it out of the park.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for bringing Dennis in. It was a surprise when I was sitting there waiting to go on with you. Here walked in Dennis.
I think we're going to be buds. At least I want to be buds.
You said, well, how'd you get in?
How did you get in,
It is
by
a
the
fortress.
I can't say.
He just wandered in. All right, we got a break. Jeff Wagner will be after the news. Sandy will do it again tomorrow quickly.
Yeah, just a reminder, I got to think that everybody here in this room is happy about the Packers win yesterday.
Yes.
You can keep that vibe going. We have a Jordan Love song playlist that you can listen to, full of about 24 love songs. You can text love to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 to listen to some love today. We'll text you that link.
Go Packers.
Go Packers. Go Brewers.
Packers.
Let's wrap it up tomorrow at home. What do you say?
Let's do
Clinch it.
All right. Jeff Wagner's after the news.
Spaceship to Debbie. Come in, Debbie. Traffic is slowing down.
Yeah, Captain, there's an accident 2 miles ahead. Take the next exit for a quicker trip.
Making it through Milwaukee traffic isn't rocket science. Debbie Lazaga is looking out for you on the roads.
Traffic has woken up. We have an accident. We got a little bit of heavier traffic. We got pockets of heavy traffic. That's going to be tacking on a couple extra minutes there.
Follow her on Facebook and Twitter. Only on WTMJ.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern